up? What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day coming off work, school, whatever the case may be. I am your host, Sports PSP. BRF will be on the show momentarily. He's just having some technical difficulties, but we'll have him on the show. Sorry, everyone, for the late delay regarding the show. PSP was having somewhat of a nervous breakdown, having some issues, but don't worry. He's going to be on doing the show like he normally does. But of course, I can't do the show, the Sports PSP podcast, without my main man, all the way down from Columbus, Georgia. He's the five-time college degree champion. He's the military man and veteran. He is the Al Roker of journalism. He is the young Charles Barkley. He is the young Mark Henry. He is the Ahmad Rashad when it comes to the WNBA. He is the big fella. He is Ace's best sibling, D's hilarious friend. He is Mama Champ's number one favorite son. Hopefully, I'll get him a New Orleans Saints jersey if he doesn't throw it in the trash. The one and only, the big fella, undisputed world champ. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Good to see everybody today. Glad y'all are here. Look, man, WNBA Commissioner's Cup heating up, man. Big win tonight. Last night for the Indiana Fever. Going over on my Atlanta Dream, man. Didn't expect that, but big ups to Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, man. They came out there and they took it to us early, took it to us late, and hey, came out with a victory, man. That was a much needed victory, man, considering all the controversies that's been around the Indiana Fever team. But hey, man, good, 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 good night to be doing a podcast, man. We all know Friday night is podcast night, man. And you gotta love this atmosphere, man. We got the NFL going on. We got 98 days to the kickoff. 98 days to the kickoff. So got the WNBA season going on. Got the NBA finals going on. Potential reliving of a dynasty or breaking a curse that was years in the making. Oh, man. You gotta love the sports atmosphere, man. Especially here, live from New Jersey on the Sports PSP podcast. You gotta love it, man. Gotta love
And of course, we got the great BRF Sports in the building. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Life is good. Another good week of work. Ready to get into this weekend. I mean, just y'all obviously saw my favorite person just a little while ago. She's here for the summer, so getting all the time I can in with her. Even though I know they're probably gonna be a little loud during the show, so I apologize ahead of time.
That's okay. Thank God for Riverside. Luckily, we're able to echo and edit all the loud noise in the background, but don't worry about that as always. But BRF, is always a pleasure having you on the Sports PSP podcast. We missed you the past couple of weeks, man, but we understand, family things, and obviously, congrats to your daughter. Happy for you that you getting to spend time with her for the rest of the summer before she heads back to school.
She is a sixth grader. Very proud of her. She is a sixth grader now. Extremely proud of her. She's come a long way. Like, grades have improved so much. She's come a long way. I tell her all the time, I'm always proud of her. So I know she's gonna keep the good work up. But yeah, man, just so much stuff. And outside of that, man, just so much stuff to really get into, man. Like, crazy NFL week. Like WNBA is going on, and I mean, me being the baseball junkie that I am, a lot of stuff going on. Me and Champ, our Braves just doing what they do. But I mean, there's still a lot of baseball left. But I mean, just it's a good time right now. We getting into summer, so this is what things really starting to heat up, man. And I'm ready to get into it, man. I missed y'all brothers too, man. Y'all like family, so I definitely missed y'all too, and I'm glad to be back.
Well, I mean, Champ was acting the fool this past 2 weeks when he was in Atlanta. This was his reaction.
Oh, shoot.
Hey, man, look, my Atlanta Dream winning. My Atlanta Dream, with the exception of last night, have been doing real, real good. Still awaiting Bree Jones to come back. People don't even realize we're doing pretty well, and Bree Jones is not in the lineup right about now. So when she comes back, Angel will be moving back to power forward. Bree Jones will be moving to center. And look, hey, Angel Reese has been performing. I mean, Ryan Howard, she didn't have such a good game last night against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Hey, wait a minute. She did the other night. She did have 36 points, though.
Yeah, she had 36 points, matched her career high. But hey man, the Atlanta Dream will bounce back, man. Look out for the Minnesota Link, one of the best backcourts in the league. Olivia Miles will be Rookie of the Year this year. And look, at this point, they're just awaiting the arrival of Nafisa Koya at this point with the Minnesota Link. It's kind of like the Z Fighters when they was fighting Vegeta and Nappa, and they was just waiting for Goku to get back. The Minnesota Lynx are just waiting for Nafisa Koya, their Goku, to get back. And you know it's going to be on and popping when she gets back. You know, before she got hurt last year, she would have won the MVP if it had it not been for her injuries. But unfortunately, she got hurt, and the GOAT ended up taking it home, that being Asia Wilson. But right now, they're just waiting for their Goku to get back in the form of Nafisa Korea. So with that backcourt with Olivia Miles and Courtney Williams, we know they had lost Atlanta Smith, but Natasha Howard is doing damn good and filling that spot. They have a lot of great role players on this team. It's going to be damn good when everything gets going the way it is for the Minnesota Lynx. But hopefully my Atlanta Dream will be right there, man. And we all know that the NBA title goes through the West Coast in Las Vegas and the Las Vegas Aces. We all know where that goes. But we're going to get into a lot more of that at a later time, especially on the Uncensored show.
I've said it before, if the Sparks had a better record, Kelsey Plum would be my leading candidate for MVP.
Yeah.
But speaking of basketball, fellas, the New York Knicks took game 1 at the Alamo against the San Antonio Spurs. They came back from a 14-point deficit. Jalen Brunson didn't have the best shooting performance in the world, but when it came down to the fourth quarter, he's clutch. And wasn't a great shooting night for Victor Wembanyama. I told you, champ, I would not be surprised nor shocked at all that New York wins the series. I'm going to roll with the New York Knicks winning this one because to me, my concern is if Wemby is not going to get it going offensively in terms of scoring, who will? Now, Dylan Harper actually played very well in game 1, and the mistake that I thought Mitch Johnson made was taking him out, considering you weren't getting that much offensive scoring outside of Champagne. Turnovers was a concern with the San Antonio Spurs, but you have to tip your hats off to the New York Knicks, champ. They just find ways to win. I mean, look, game 1 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, down 22 in the fourth quarter. They just find ways to win. Wemby, the thing is taking him out. When they put him in the bench, for whatever reason, their ability to attack the basket. Karl Anthony Towns played well, especially attacking the basket. He didn't have to shoot threes or anything like that. He just needed to be assertive, and he knew the advantage he had going up against Luke Cornett. Josh Hart, the rebounding. He had double-digit rebounds. That's one of the reasons why they love having him there, because he's going to give you effort and energy, and you can also win some games with him when he occasionally has an 18 or 25-point game. Jalen Brunson, what more can you ask from him as far as closing situations? You can't really ask any more from him. The reason why I have the Knicks winning this series, y'all, is because I just think with the New York Knicks, they're a more experienced team compared to San Antonio. Young, youth. I have the Knicks winning at least 6 or 7. But I'm kind of concerned about Monday night because there will be a certain individual who will be there Monday night. Yes, champ, I think you know exactly to who I'm referring to. And Lord have mercy in that regard. Then on top of that, the Knicks, with Adam Silver and Michael Jordan, they tried to do everything they can to get Charles Oakley and James Dolan to squash their differences and eventually have Oakley back at Madison Square Garden. Champ, I don't know if you saw the statement from Charles Oakley. He accused Adam Silver of lying, saying that they never met to actually solve the situation. My thing is, it's never going to happen. James Dolan is a billionaire. He has money and he has power. And last time I checked, we all know people with money and power, they don't like to be told what to do. And James Dolan doesn't care. He's not going to admit that he was wrong. He's still going to stand by with the way he handled the situation. And I told you, champ, New York people, they are insane. After all, I told you that. You didn't want to listen to me. You didn't
He
want
just
to
not
listen.
gonna let me live that
No,
down.
because I have to live through all this shit. Because after all, I live in Jersey. You a Southerner. You even admitted, hey, I understand. Look, I understand because you want great narratives. You want to see the New York Knicks break the curse. Haven't won a championship since 1973. But the bottom line is, I told you how them fans are, and you saw how their reaction was in Game One when they beat the Spurs. So I've told you, you did this to yourself. I wholeheartedly hold you accountable and responsible. I tried to tell you, man. I tried to tell you. You didn't want to listen to me. So now I blame you wholeheartedly for everything that's going on with New York. Matter of fact, I even blame you for having Trump there in game 3 of the NBA finals. So I hold this on champ Stephon Pryor. This is
I didn't even,
all on
not the
you.
government, Dave, not the government. I didn't even vote for that motherfucker. I didn't even vote for that motherfucker.
You
I'm
did
just
this
being
because you brought all this New York excitement and all this crazy shit to which I have to be subjected to because after all, I live in the Jersey area, the East Coast area. Why do you think I'm trying to move all the way down to the South to avoid that type of crap? I like this.
All all I'm gonna say is I have a new nickname for Donald Trump, but it's one that will not be repeated on this air this evening. I'll just leave it at that.
Are you talking about Cheetos?
Oh, trust me,
Cheetos.
The
my
dumb.
trust me, my name is far worse. It will not get repeated. I promise you. It's bad.
It's
I
probably
It's
don't.
bad.
it's probably something with him falling asleep because that's what he's been doing apparently every time in press conference.
No, 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 no,
Y'all
no,
remember
no,
that
no.
cartoon character? What's that dude? Sneezer. He was on Tiny Toon Adventure. He just go to sleep on the can of sodas or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of like, damn, you must be
I'll,
tired.
I'll, I'll
You
put it
better
to you
stay.
like I'll put it to y'all like this. I will tell y'all when we're off the air.
My thing is this, man. Look, with the Knicks, I think the Knicks, they're the underdogs. San Antonio, a lot of people have them winning the finals because of their defense, their youth, their length, how they're able to guard Jalen Brunson. But okay, if Jalen Brunson has a bad night, how are you going to handle Cat? How are you going to handle OG? How are you going to handle Mikael Bridges, who lately has been playing very well in the playoffs since that funk late in the season? I look at with San Antonio, Mitch Johnson. If you know Dylan Harper is giving you the offensive production, you have to keep him on the court because you're not getting much so far at this point with Stephon Castle. What happened? What happened, champ?
Hey, shout out to Jade. What's up, Jade?
Mr. Watson?
No, Jade. You know, shout out to
Okay.
Jade. Jade, what you doing here? What you doing here? Shout out to Jade. Shout out my sister, Jade. Watch her cook and make that get out tea that she was making last week, yesterday. I think it was the other day she was making that get out tea. You know,
That get out T.
go to her page where on
Oh,
Instagram
love
and
love that woman. Yes, she
and
does.
she was
She
making
can
that
cook.
get out tea. She was making that get out tea. Go to it, you'll see what I'm saying. She was making that get out tea.
Any beverage with a name like that, yes, I have to go view this and check this out because we remember this movie.
Yeah,
And
you gotta
and
go
shout
make.
out to the great Candace as well. So always make sure we give Candace some love. But fellas, my thing is I got the Knicks winning this series, man. BRF, I know the Knicks have won now 12 consecutive games since they were down 2-1 against your Atlanta Hawks.
Mhm.
Who do you have winning the finals?
I still got I got the Spurs. I I look at game one as something that didn't surprise me because the Spurs were fresh off of game seven. The Knicks were rested. So, I mean, they kind of had the advantage there. Game one is usually that game where the road team can come in and snag, especially the Spurs coming off of that series against the OKC Thunder, where, I mean, it went all 7 games, and it's like, I mean, that series was about as hard fought as it can get. Um, I still, I, I think what the Spurs need to do is adjust particularly with Wembanyama, because he's pretty cold outside of the 3 point line right now. So they really need to kind of establish him in the post more, as particularly against Cat. Because I will say this though, Cat did do a decent job with Wemby as far as his offense. I think he was like 2 for 12, and Cat was guarding him.
Cat's a big
But
dude though, even
yeah,
though he
he is a big dude, but I think with Wemby being like 7'4", 7'5", he could still take advantage of that length and that leverage, and being able to kind of post him up and be able to kind of still have his way, using that extra leverage against him. Um, I think another big thing with the Spurs, De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron Fox might be a big X factor in this, because he's a guy that's been on an he's been on an all-star level, like as far as like him being up there, like recognized, as being one of the best point guards in the league for a long time. And you got guys like Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, kind of like overshadowing them a little bit with their youth and their athleticism and their ability to just attack at will. De'Aaron Fox really needs to get it going, playmaking, scoring. We know how good De'Aaron Fox can be when he's clicking on all cylinders. I think he's really got to step up for the Spurs to really get going, because I feel like I don't know. I just feel like when I look at the Spurs and I see their depth, I still feel like they're really, really deep. It's Castle, it's Harper, it's Fox, it's Champagny, it's Vassell, who's also a Georgia native. Shout out Devin Vassell.
tremendous mid-range shooter.
Yes, Lawrenceville, Georgia's own. Um, Keldon Johnson can still give you quality minutes. Luke Cornett can give you quality minutes, particularly being able to stretch the floor, being a big that can shoot the three. So it's not
Except defense.
trust me, yeah, he's a turnstile on defense. Don't get it twisted. Luke Cornett is a turnstile on defense.
I did not lie. I did
He's a
not
turnstile
lie.
on defense. No, he is definitely a turnstile on defense. But like I said, I still think he can still get quality minutes with his rebounding and his ability to stretch for shooting the three. And I look at the Knicks, and they stepped up like midway third quarter, going into fourth quarter, where it felt like the Spurs was getting ready to pull away from them. The Knicks did a great job of adjusting. They really kept Wemby out of the post a lot. They made him shoot because they know how cold he was from the outside. They made him keep shooting. They were doing a great job as far as closing off, not letting the Spurs attack. They weren't hitting their shots. And then Jalen Brunson just doing Jalen Brunson things. It's like the Knicks fans have been saying. Everybody's better than Jalen Brunson until it's time to be better than Jalen Brunson. And they are riding that slogan until the wheels fall off. They're gonna ride it until, if they win the championship. So he's doing Jalen Brunson things, and shout out to Cat. Like Cat was amazing. Cat was amazing in game one. Like just being able to use his power and his body against Wemby, even though Wemby's got the height advantage, he was still able to be physical with him. That was probably one of the more physical performances I'd seen out of Cat in a long, long time. Just being able to really kind of dictate what he wanted to do with Wembanyama. But at the same time as Cat, we know how good Cat can be. We know what his ceiling is. We know what Cat's ceiling is when he's on his game, with his scoring, his rebounding, and his playmaking, his ability to set his teammates up, and particularly his ability to shoot three. So I wasn't really shocked that the Knicks were able to come in and win that game. Like I said, they're riding the high. They like you said, since they were down 2-1 against the Hawks, they haven't lost since. They've been able to do an amazing job with each series of just adjusting on the fly, being able to take advantage of their opponent's weaknesses, and they're just going at it. And right now with the Spurs, they're not hitting outside shots. And they've been rebounding, and then they do what they need to do to attack. And just the Spurs really they love perimeter defense. They like to set up. They're another one of these teams that like the Thunder. They like to set up. They like to set up, get in the half court. They like to be able to man you up, play defense, and then just rebound and go from there. That's what they do. The Spurs, to me, were a better version of the Thunder, which is what I felt like they were going to beat them in the West Conference Finals, and that's what happened. I personally do still like the Spurs in 6, because I just still think that their depth, and I do think eventually they're going to start hitting shots, and I think it's going to be on the coaching staff to get Wemby established early in the post, let his inside game get going. Then if he maybe hits an outside shot or two, if he starts hitting those, then sky's the limit for what he could do in this series. I got the Spurs, but honestly, the Knicks did a great job as far as being able to come in, take advantage, get game one, take home court advantage away from the Spurs. It's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun series. I mean, I think a lot of us, even though we might be picking the Spurs, we know what the Knicks are capable of, and we know they're going to make this a fun series. This should be a really fun series.
Well, the New York Knicks, for one thing's for sure, they're going to continue to fight, which is why you can't be complacent when you have a 14, 16-point lead. Even though we've seen teams had big leads before and blown them, but with this New York Knicks team, there's just something about them. They just find ways to win. Jalen Brunson in clutch situations. Shout out to Mitchell Robinson, still playing with the broken pinky finger. Also, too, Deuce McBride, hit some big threes for them. I thought that also helped them as well. But the defense that they put on Wemby, you can't ask anything more. Because if the Knicks would have been in trouble had Wemby had went off and had 35 and 20 or 35 and 14. But the thing is with San Antonio, if Wemby's going to have a lackluster performance, which I don't see him happening moving forward, who's going to step up for you? It should be De'Aaron Fox. He's your second best scoring option on this team. You can't expect Stephon Castle. I think he's year 3 in his career?
He's year 2.
Year 2, I'm sorry. Dylan Harper is a rookie. Keldon Johnson, yeah, you expect something from him because after all, he is sixth man of the year. This is a young, inexperienced team. Now, what I do think what Mitch Johnson, but more importantly, what Greg Popovich will do is try to make some adjustments. Try to limit not only Brunson, but also limit Cat. Keep him contested. Keep him away from the basket. BRF, to your point, when Wemby is out on the perimeter, more in the paint, that's when things start to help. Because you saw that early on in the series against San Antonio versus Oklahoma City. When Wemby is not in the paint as much, whether on offense or defense, that kind of limits San Antonio. So they need to keep him in the paint as much as possible. Big fella, I hold you responsible for all the New York Knicks mess. It's getting to the point. You know what? Maybe if I have a few $1,000s, maybe I can try to get you and DE to go to Madison Square Garden for Game 3 just to hang out with the president. Maybe we can give you some courtside tickets or something like that. But the floor is yours.
New York, big city and dreams, and everything in New York ain't always what it seems. Hey, man, look, told everybody, New York, break the curse, man. This is your chance. Break the curse. And I told everybody who was going to be an X factor in that game, Carl Anthony Towns. I said that last show. I distinctly remember myself saying that. And he was a main factor. Hey, you cannot stop Wemby. You can only hope to contain him. And when you contain him, you have a great chance in order to win. And that's exactly what they did. And guess what? Fighting back is something that New York known for. Came back from a 15-point deficit on the road. Look, I know that the Alamo is not it is not that place to play in, and you're down by a large deficit. You don't believe that? Just ask my Lakers. You do not want to be down in the Alamo. But if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. They made it into the Alamo, and they made it out with a victory. If they fall 2-0 tonight, they're in trouble. And I don't know about you, but this team, as young as it is, it gives me kind of Orlando Magic, Shaquille O'Neal vibes. It gives me a very, very young, inexperienced type of team that is very, very young and that's going at a team with more experience that has a little bit more hunger in the form of the New York Knicks. I know Wemby is a very competitive guy, but I really feel like the Knicks want it more. Much like Hakeem Olajuwon, they wanted it more over the Orlando Magic. That's how come I chose the New York Knicks. I like the Spurs. I think this team is going to win championships in the future, but I don't really think this is their series at this point. I really think that New York is going to take it home. And more than likely, they're going to win tonight.
Well, I blame you for all the chaos that's going to happen in game two, post game two.
I don't see the Spurs having back-to-back bad games like that. I see them winning tonight.
I don't think he's expecting a bad game, BRF, from Wemby. But if it comes down to a stage of that magnitude in the fourth quarter, the ball's going to be in Brunson's hands. We know what Brunson is capable of come fourth quarter time. I think, look, if you're San Antonio, you just need more from your team, from your bench. And for Wemby, just attack more to the basket. And the thing is with Cat, even though he's taller and longer, BRF, the thing is with Cat, Cat is probably what 240, 250. Wemby's probably like what 230 at least. So Cat can put. So Cat, I'm not saying he's gonna completely push him around, but again, when you're a tall, lean dude, skinny dude like Wemby, it's gonna be hard though. I just think for San Antonio, Mitch Johnson, if you knew Dylan Harper was giving you production on offense, why would you take him out the game in that situation? You need to find a way to stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you take Wemby out of the ball game? How is San Antonio are offensively and defensively, more importantly? Because guess what? When you take Wemby out of the equation, like I said, Luke Cornett, you trust him on defense, especially in the interior, going up against a guy like Cat? No. Shaq will always tell you himself, barbecue chicken. And not only that, with Brunson, his ability to attack the basket, the step back mid range shot. So that's going to give enough space around the mid range game. So they don't have to score from the 3-point range. I think, and by the way, I don't see New York having a bad 3-point shooting performance that they had last night. Leading into the finals, they had the best 3-point percentage. I think at 40%. I think the New York Knicks will do a better job shooting from the three because, again, even though they've been rested, BRF, they've had 9 days off. So, again, somewhat kind of rusty. They're trying to get back into the fray. But if San Antonio, if you want any chance to win this game, I don't think it's who wants it born champ. I just believe the fact that youth and inexperience plays away. When you're young, you're prone to making mistakes. You mentioned the Orlando Magic team. I see more of the Oklahoma City team when they advance to the NBA Finals with the big three with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I like that.
well, because you look at the youth. Dylan Harper's 20 years old. Stephon Castle, I think he's what, 21, 22. Wemby's about 22.
Is Dylan Harper's? He's 19, ain't
Yeah, he's
20.
I think he's 20 now. I think he's 20 now.
Okay, then, because I'm thinking 1 point. See, he's 19 years old.
But the thing is with the Spurs, it's just a lot of potential. But New York, for all the craziness that's going on, I blame Champ Stephon Pryor because everything that he has done
Not
to
the
the
government name. He called me by the government name on television.
Good gracious.
I blame.
My identity is supposed to be like Spider-Man. It's supposed to be a secret. But you just somebody, you realize somebody could dox me on the internet and start coming looking for me.
I blame you wholeheartedly for everything that is going on with New York, man, because you giving New York the platform to say whatever they want. But I told you, champ. I've told you how the New York Knicks fans are, man. New Yorkers are. They are wild. And to say wild would be an enormous understatement. They are insane.
You told me, but look, I literally saw Kentucky burn to the damn ground because their team won the NC2A title. I'm just being real. I literally saw. Remember when Kentucky won the NC2A title? They was literally burning cars out there. I mean, we've seen the worst of the worst when it comes to teams winning titles.
I'm scared of what New York's going to go through if they win this championship.
Again,
I'm petrified.
Again, we've seen literally teams, these little small little backwoods country towns down south in Kentucky, literally burned the damn city to the ground when their teams have won. So this is not nothing we have not seen before,
But
bro. It's
but
like
champ, but
it's
champ,
weird.
this is an entirely different stratosphere. You got to understand how New Yorkers are, their mentality, their mindset, how they talk, how they treat people and crap. This is a franchise who hasn't won anything since 1973, who hasn't been to the finals since 1999. If they win a championship, you're gonna see burnings. You're gonna see people getting arrested. Hell, you may see people eat crap, actual crap. I mean, go look at the Philadelphia Eagles when they won the Super Bowl.
I was getting ready to mention them.
If
Think
somebody
Philly.
actually did that, or you pulling my leg right about now.
No, we're not joking, champ. They actually ate horse manure.
What in the blue blankety blank going on? Ooh.
I was
Am I
getting,
lying,
You
BRF?
but I
how
know.
can you
I
how can you
think,
put that on your stomach and let you digest that?
brother. Yeah,
That is a
let me.
that is an atrocity.
I was getting ready to talk about Philly. Like, if the New York Knicks win the NBA championship, picture Philly finally winning their first Super Bowl when they beat the Patriots. Take that and multiply it by about 10. And that's what the New York Knicks celebration is going to be if they win the NBA championship. It's not even going to be Times Square anymore. It's just going to be called Times because it's not going to be a square anymore when they get done with it.
Look, they
Exactly.
call it Gotham City for a reason, so I'm expecting some outrageousness, man. But like I said, I'm gonna look. I want to see New York break the curse, man. I want to see it because the thing is, outside outside of the Liberty, the hockey teams, and Syracuse teams like that, they haven't really had their moment in the sun. Outside of, I'll say, the New York Giants when they won the Super Bowl, they
Yeah,
haven't
because
really
they.
had their moment in the sun. And the Liberty,
Mhm.
and the Liberty they won, but that team's okay. They play their games in Brooklyn. They don't play in the Garden. But
They don't consider that really New York, champ, even though it's Brooklyn and it's in New York. But what they think of New York is Madison Square Garden, the Mecca.
yeah,
And I told you, champ, as unfair as it sounds, they don't really care whether the New York Liberty won an WNBA championship. They don't care. They care about New York basketball, the Knicks, and them Yankees, and to a lesser extent, the Giants. Actually, most of them don't even care about the New York Jets at this point, considering how awful they are
yeah,
as
and
an
that's how come you
organization.
want to see them win. They've had to deal with the pain of the New York Jets. The Mets. Been a while since they've won
But
one.
but
Been a
more
while
important,
since the Yankees have
but
won.
more importantly, champ,
Yeah,
it's because of who is the owner,
yeah,
James Dolan.
yeah,
Given the
and
fact that since he's been the owner since 1999, almost every year the Knicks have been a laughing stock.
yeah.
And the fact is, they can actually break the curse. But you know what, BRF? We're so concerned if the Knicks win. What happens if the Knicks lose? There could be
Nothing.
a possibility. No,
Nothing. I
no, I could
mean,
no, I could see them
Absolutely
lose
nothing.
their no, I could see them lose their crap. They wouldn't be as crazy as winning, but I definitely do see them losing their crap though.
honestly, I feel like if the Knicks lose this series, it's the high that they're on right now. Because
Consolation prize.
yeah, the high they're on right now, 12-game winning streak, like one of the longest winning streaks we've ever seen in the postseason. If they lose this championship, it's like that high, and it's just going to be back to being Knicks fans. I think that's pretty much
Yeah,
what's going to happen
and
because it's going to be like,
Well, they're
here we
going to
go.
be
Here we
fine
go again.
They're going to be fine regardless because Champ and I we discussed this last week. They're still going to be the team in the East because there could be a possibility that Jalen Brown could no longer be with the Boston Celtics anymore.
It depends on which teams are on the come up next season. They might be the team, but with some
And
of
then
these
we got to,
teams in
and we
the
can't disregard Giannis.
yeah,
exactly,
the
it
Giannis
depends. Yeah,
sweepstakes and stuff like that.
exactly. It depends on which teams have the biggest come up as far as like acquisitions, the draft coming up, how they're able to build their rosters. Because there's about 3 or 4 teams that are like kind of like ready to just say, "Hey, we can win the East if they make the right move." So the New York Knicks might be the team, but if they don't win the championship this year, who that window could get a little bit narrower for them and a little bit wider for a few other teams, depending on how they play the offseason. So they might want to get it in this year if they're going to do it.
Well, my thing is
Yeah,
this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Champ.
Yeah, and that's like I'm hoping that they'll win this year. Go ahead and get the proverbial weight off your back, and go ahead win this city a title, and do your thing. Because guess what? You have the biggest chance in order to win. This is your biggest chance. It's the best chance that you had since you faced the Rockets in '94. This is the best chance that you have. So guess what? Go ahead, get business handles. That way you ain't got to worry about next year, because you don't want to end up being, you don't want to end up having a you owe us one championship. Hey, it took Dr. J. Look, after the '77 finals, it took Dr. J 7 years in order to get that. We owe you one championship. And if you really want me to be honest, that's because the whole damn Laker team in that finals just fell apart. That's the reason why they got it. And right now, their team is put together very, very well. It's very well coached. And look, I don't think we're giving enough credit to Mike Brown as well. Mike
Actually,
Brown,
no, but actually, champ, I think we do, because even though people talked about the 2-1 with the Atlanta, that's the reason why they brought him there. Because again, what was the knock on Thibodeau? Running players into the ground. With Mike Brown, who, by the way, just like Mitch Johnson, comes from the Popovich coaching tree, knows how to make the correct and right adjustments. And you heard what he said about James Harden throughout that series. Their job was to attack him. James Harden looked like a cone guarding Jalen Brunson, especially in game 1 during that series.
Yeah, I think
James Harden.
when you
James
go
Harden.
back to when you go back through all these series, and I think if you want to point out like one big adjustment, like through the Eastern Conference playoffs, when you look at the Hawk series, I feel like the biggest adjustment was putting Josh Hart on CJ McCollum. They put Josh Hart on CJ McCollum, and that was ball game, because Jalen Johnson wasn't playing. Even though Jalen Johnson was hustling and playing well, he wasn't really taking the shots like that. And the kill out, everybody wasn't really taking shots like that. It was CJ. Once they put Josh Hart on CJ, that was it. When you go back to the Philly series, it was more. I think it was more along the lines of like a team effort, but it was really along the lines as far as like making sure VJ Edgecombe wasn't shooting and just taking Paul George completely out of that series. Like, he was like a ghost in that series. And I think that was just one of the big things, the reason why they was able to sweep them. And then when you look at the Cavaliers, I mean, you said it. James Harden had like the biggest target on his back when it comes to the New York Knicks and how they played offense. They know he's a traffic cone out there playing defense, and they took advantage of him every single time. Even when he was playing well, getting his offense in, getting his points, he wasn't stopping nobody. But in the Knicks were like, no, we're gonna play collective defense, and we're just gonna attack you. We see you. It's kind of like, no, it's like, all right. Analogy, nostalgia analogy for all of my 90s babies out there. You remember the movie Three Ninjas?
Yes.
You remember the dummy when the red eyes came on and you hit the targets and it just popped up every time? That was James Harden. He was that dummy. He was that dummy. And trust me, they were lighting them eyes up every single time they saw him. They know how to hit him. They knew how to attack him. And that was it. And that's the reason why the Knicks were just able to just. I've never seen a team in elimination games absolutely thrash people the way the Knicks have thrashed people in elimination games this year. It's like crazy, like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I don't think they played an elimination game in these playoffs where they did not win by at least 30. It's insane.
Well, because again, with that New York mentality, nothing to lose. But I'm gonna, if they win the finals, I will immediately call NYPD, and I will immediately check to see how D is doing.
PSP out here pulling the Charleston White on folks and shit.
Oh,
Calling the police on folks.
I blame him. I blame this man, my gentleman to the left, wholeheartedly responsible for all this stuff.
Not Charleston White, bro.
He pulling the Charleston White and calling the police on folks and shit.
I'm gonna no, because again, D lives in New York City, and shout out to the beautiful D. Love that beautiful woman. I'm afraid what you're gonna put her and most of the New Yorkers through, champ. I hold this wholeheartedly
Champ.
on you.
I
This,
can't believe you compared that man to that glass-eyed tattletale. How dare you?
I mean, he said he was gonna call the police on folks.
I didn't say I was going to call the police because I have to check on people. I have to check on my people. I have to check on my people. This is why I tried to tell BRF. This is why I've been trying to tell Champ all this time. I want to move down south because again, I can't handle the craziness with New Yorkers anymore. I'm sure there's some bad days in Madison. I'm sure there's some bad days in Columbus, but
There's a few.
But New York is an entirely different stratosphere, man. Dudes are mean. Fortunately for y'all, no one is gonna confront y'all. Because if they do, something's gonna happen to them.
I just hate it. You compare him to that man. That man always look undecided because he don't know which way to go. But that's a whole nother. I'm gonna shut up. 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 I'm gonna be quiet.
You could have compared me to Ben Carson or something like that.
Get away from me. Get away from me. You gonna get her kicked off the damn talk about
you could have compared me to Candace Owens.
Oh hell no. Ain't nobody.
You could have compared me to the officer Brandon Tatum.
Boy, no.
Nobody trying to compare you to her wild moose looking ass.
No.
What's next? You gonna compare me to Sage Steele?
No Brandon Tatums, no Craig Longs, no none of that. No.
Who the fuck Craig Long?
No. He's one of those, and he was caught up in the trafficking thing. So
yeah,
we'll just say
right now. It's quite ironic. A lot of those cats from the other side get caught up in trafficking.
Okay. That should tell you something. But fellas, let's move on to the biggest news. That's all good.
That's my bad.
No, it's good. Friday night, like I said, highlight of Friday nights. I mean, boy,
Charleston White, though. I'm dead.
Lord. Well, I mean, I want to hear what you have to say regarding Dr. Cheyenne Bryan later on the show. But
my God.
But back to the NFL. Just when we thought the NBA Finals, the WNBA, football, Myles Garrett traded to the Los Angeles Rams. Myles Garrett, 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, broke Michael Strahan's record last year for the most sacks in a regular season, was traded to the Los Angeles Rams. Cleveland, they will receive Jared Verse, 2024 Defensive Rookie of the Year. Cleveland will also receive a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a 2029 third-round pick. Look, one of my favorite comedians in the world is the great Miss Pat. And just like as she normally says, fuck them kids, that's how the Rams are when it comes to first rounds and picks. Fuck them picks. Just look at Les Snead when he wore that shirt the day when they won the Super Bowl, or a few days after the Super Bowl parade. As you mentioned, champ, you got Myles Garrett for the trade. Remember, months ago, we talked about Trent McDuffie. And you got Watson. For me, with Los Angeles, is Super Bowl or nothing. And there may be a possibility, who knows, Aaron Donald may possibly come out of retirement. Now, I am kind of concerned, champ, about that, because if Aaron Donald does come out of retirement, champ, we got to keep it consistent. Timing, as you say, timing is everything, champ. No matter what type of shape or condition, and I'm sure Aaron Donald, compared to most, is in phenomenal shape.
Yes.
But as you always say, timing is key. That is very key. But for Los Angeles, I love it because they're consistent. Fuck them picks. As Miss Pat always says, fuck them picks. As for Cleveland, I feel bad for Jared Verse because, again, I'm going to Cleveland. I've had some really good years with Los Angeles. Last year, I was fresh off from a conference championship appearance. I truly believe had the Rams went to the Super Bowl and won, would we have this discussion about a Myles Garrett trade? In my opinion, probably not. But because
You think so?
No, I don't
I
think
still,
so because it was
I honestly think, they might still pull it off anyway, just to be greedy.
well, yeah, I mean, after all, it is Los Angeles, but Jared Verse ain't shabby.
Oh
Let's not
no,
rule or discount that.
no,
And
he's a top 10 pass rusher in the league. He ain't shabby at all.
but to me, it's kind of how you look at it. You got a young, it's kind of like food. Even though Champ's working on his diet and all this other stuff. I mean, he's going from Mr. Clump to now all of a sudden the lean meat. He's looking like sooner or later he'll become the Tony Robbins, the fizzled Tony Robbins. It's kind of like food. It's kind of like going for a nice piece of grilled chicken or fried chicken, or you going for a nice sirloin steak with gravy on the side and mashed potatoes. And to wash it down with a nice iced tea. Sweet. Gotta make sure it's sweet. I can't drink. I can't drink iced tea if it's unsweet. If it's
I
unsweet,
should
I ain't
hope not.
drinking that shit.
People who drink, I will never trust a person who drink unsweetened iced tea. If you drink iced tea, you need to stay the hell away from me.
I do kind of have to give you this side eye if you can drink unsweetened tea with a
If
straight
you
face.
drink unsweetened iced tea, you might well just take
Yeah,
that damn kettle pot and pour it in there and do that.
down, yeah, exactly.
But
Like,
no, I can't imagine it. But listen, I love it for Los Angeles. This helps elevate their Super Bowl chances. I think they're going to be the team to come out of the NFC as they should. Seattle, they had a great season last year. I do expect them to take a step back. We're going to talk about Philadelphia later on in the show, of course, with the A.J. Brown trade. But I think for Los Angeles, they were so close. Now you add one of the preeminent defensive players in the NFL right now in Myles Garrett, and the possibility of maybe getting Aaron Donald, and you add an all-pro corner in Trent McDuffie, Matthew Stafford coming off an MVP season to which BRF previously predicted. And look, and you got the running game with Corum and Kieran Williams, Devontae Adams. Didn't he have 14 touchdown receptions last year?
led the
Yeah,
league.
the NFC.
There you go. And we know what a red zone threat he still is. And Puka Nakua, assuming he gets his shit together, because Lord, champ, we talk about Rashee Rice can't get right. Same thing must have to apply with Puka Nakua.
He just don't know when to shut up.
Sometimes it pays to shut your damn mouth. Just shut up and play ball. Now, I'm not saying this when it comes to your political beliefs or anything like that. When you know you out here living foul, please zip your lips up and be quiet. And stay off and football players, if you do anything, stay off these damn streaming services with these damn content creators, bro. Look, if you're going on a podcast, like you going on here with Sports PSP, Brandon from the block, especially Trent, guys like that, that's extremely fine and well.
The guys that are actually about that good professional
About
life.
good content.
Yes.
Go ahead, go on the show. You'll have a good time, and hey, it'll be fine. You talking sports, but look, when you can't be out here on stage with damn Rampage Jackson, DDG, and all of these, you are not a fucking streamer. Get off these damn streaming services and act like you got some sense. You are not a streamer. Them streamers want to be your ass. As much money as they probably make on streaming, they will never get as much money as you are. That's how come they want you on the show. Get off these damn streaming sites and get your ass back in that gym. Now, if you're talking sports, fine. You talking with content creators that's about that sports life, fine. That's your lane. But get off these damn content creator sites with this, these guys, you get on there, you make a behind out of yourself, and then everybody look, why am I canceled? Because you're dumb. That's why.
Well, I mean, look no further than Cam Scatterboo when he went on a podcast and he talked about a very important issue regarding football players. We know what he said. We won't go any further. But
Yeah, and
back
you sound ignorant when you do that type of stuff. Like, stop saying ignorant stuff on these streaming sites. Stay off these streaming places because you're gonna look silly. You're gonna look like a spectacle. You want people to take you serious in this sports world. That's one thing I can say about guys like Sue. That's another thing I can say about guys like Eli and everybody like that. But they
Patrick
always go,
Surtain, you can't.
yeah,
Patrick Surtain, if you actually take the time to actually listen to his podcast, champ, he actually breaks down a lot of stuff. But to your
yeah.
point, champ,
You want to be
I
taken
just
serious as your craft. You want to be taken serious. Stay off these unserious streamers stuff. Like, don't be going on Rampage Jackson shit no more. He's not an athlete anymore. He's a streamer. I understand he used to be the world champion at one point, but he's no longer that. Stay off these guys as far as streaming is concerned. Because guess what? You go out there, you make an ass of yourself, and then you end up jeopardizing your career because you don't know how to stop yapping. Hush. Be
and
your ass
to
quiet.
Candace's point, you talking right straight off the live streaming. But unfortunately, champ, that ain't gonna happen because nowadays athletes look, as you always tell me with Ice T, freedom of speech.
Yeah, watch what you say. And why to watch what you say? Because guess what? Look, I'm gonna just be real. Content creators who have made it a career, there's not very many of us. Content creators who stream, they making a lot of money. They don't answer to nobody. They say something stupid, they gonna go back on stream the very, very next day and do exactly what they want to do. We've seen it way too many times. He's been canceled. No, he gonna go back on the thing the next day. He or she or they might give a little half, apology about it, and then they gonna move on. People gonna start back watching the stream. You, on the other hand, you have to realize you have a boss. That boss is the NBA, the NFL, or the MLB, or NHL, WNBA, stuff like that. You have to realize that you have a boss. You have somebody you have to answer to. So keep your little behinds off these content creators stream. Like I stated, if you're going on a sports podcast and you doing other stuff with sports content creators, that's fine. That's your lane. That's your craft. That's your forte. But you're going on DDG's streaming platform and you trying to be around the little Insta thoughts or whatever, bro, get your ass off that damn stream before you end up playing yourself. Because every single guy that has ever been on those live streams with those content creators didn't caught a charge, they didn't got in trouble about some dumb shit they didn't said, or some other. Look at Cam Scatterboo. Look at Antonio Brown. Look at Puka Nakua.
Unfortunately, champ,
That's almost ironic that he said Cam Scatterboo, knowing what he said, and then the next name he brought up is Antonio Brown, who's the walking image of what Cam Scatterboo said does not exist.
But at the same time, do we expect anything else with Antonio Brown at this point, given what he's done throughout his NFL career and where he is now? I mean, can't get right. It's just always something. But back to the Rams, I love the trade for Myles Garrett. This helps their chances. They've been consistent. F them picks. F them picks. Just like Miss Pat always says, F them kids. I think it's Super Bowl bust for Los Angeles. The only team that could challenge them, in my opinion, is the Philadelphia Eagles. And the San Francisco 49ers. But, the time is running out with Kyle Shanahan. Still a very good coach. But I cannot. And then also, of course, Seattle. Green Bay, even though they paid Christian Watson a ton of money, but still, we got to see with LaFleur. And plus, he's on the hot seat heading into this season. Despite all the injuries that they've had last year, yes, with Tucker Kraft and everything else, people are not going to forget you did blow a big lead against the Chicago Bears. Eventually, the Indiana Bears. But, champ, your thoughts on the trade?
Look, I'm going to just be real. They say F them picks, but you remember a lot of the cornerstones that they have in this franchise were late round picks. That's how well they draft. None of those guys who we see starting right now, hardly any of them are first round picks.
No, champ, when I say F them picks,
No.
it's not just first round.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. But when you talk about F them picks, people talk about first rounders mainly. Because, everybody think that first rounders, you get a first round pick, but yeah. But a lot of these guys that has came from the Rams, they're in the second, third, they're in this third, fourth, fifth, sixth round. So they know how to say F them picks and go out there and get them some groceries in the draft. They know how to say, hey, I'm gonna get all of these tomahawk steaks for this banquet and still go out there and get some cheeseburgers out there at the market, at the fresh market. Look at Puka Nakua, Blake Corn, Karen Williams, the offensive line that they have. Look at a lot of
Yeah.
the defensive linemen that they have. Look at the defensive players that they have. So they say F them picks. They can afford to say F them picks because they know how to utilize the late round steals that they've gotten. And they can transition from one to another. Look how great they transitioned from Cooper Kupp to Puka Nakua. How they was able to pass that torch from the Triple Crown winner to the all-time rookie leader. Look how they was able to pass that torch. Look how they was able to get rid of Todd Gurley and then still have a great running game. Look how they was able to revamp the passing position. Look how they was able to get Devontae Adams basically for a song and get him paid. So I can afford to say, look, if I'm giving away all my steak, if I'm giving away all of that, and I'm managing to cook a Thanksgiving feast in return of that, I have a reason for doing it. Now, people are going to say this. In the defense of the Cleveland Browns, they have not missed the last two drafts. They have not missed. They've drafted Quinshawn Judkins. They've drafted Hagens. They've drafted the defensive rookie of the year. They've drafted Sador Sanders. They've drafted a lot of great players these last two drafts. And you got another Pro Bowler in return for him and a first-round pick. Now, it remains to be seen how you're going to get him paid. Are you going to pay him? Is he going to be a Brown for life, or is he going to say, look, I'm going to do these couple years and then I'm going to get the hell out of Dodge?
That's a concern you're going to have with Cleveland, champ. But to me, who won this one, I would say Los Angeles. Because they're elevated to win a championship. As for Cleveland, you have to take into account the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, you've talked about with their defense. They've made some moves in the offseason by bringing in with the Dexter Lawrence, and the offense can still keep intact as long as Joe Burrow can stay healthy. That is the concern we've had with the Bengals. Never Joe Burrow's abilities. Can he stay healthy? As you always say, as you coined the term, the quarterback cannot throw on his back. You look at Pittsburgh, they just re-signed one of y'all boys, Darnell Washington. Got to get down to at least 260, 265. He can't play at 300 at the tight end spot, unless if he was playing offensive lineman. And we all know this is Aaron Rodgers last year. And then when you look at Baltimore, how are they going to be with the new head coach? And they also lost one of the offensive linemen who's now with the Las Vegas Raiders. They did make some moves in the draft. I will give them that. For Cleveland, yes, to your point, champ, they've done their part getting talent, Quinshawn Judkins and stuff like that. But right now, at the very least, I'm going to go with Los Angeles winning this trade. Because with Cleveland, you got to deal with the rest of the division. You still in hell with that Deshaun Watson deal. Because remember, and plus, Mary Kay Cabot, the great Mary Kay Cabot who covers the Cleveland Browns, suggested that Deshaun Watson should be the starter. When we know for a fact, champ, that it should be Sador, because what have you seen from Deshaun Watson? The only reason why they're probably going to put him as the starter, because after all, look how much money you paying him. With the Rams, this elevates their chances to win. And plus, Matthew Stafford still has a couple of years left of football in him. I still don't agree I still don't agree drafting Ty Simpson that early in the first round. I don't agree with that. I think you should have drafted him in day 2. But you still keep this offense intact. You add not only Miles Garrett in the trade, but you also add Trent McDuffie in the trade. You also got the other cornerback from the Chiefs, Watson.
Yeah.
So you add that to the mix. You add Miles Garrett with your front line. You still keep this offense intact. I think for the Rams, it should be Super Bowl or bust. As for Cleveland, this is more of an experimental process because Todd Monken from your Georgia Bulldogs, hopefully, I mean, it would be great if he were back as the offensive coordinator for the Georgia Bulldogs as opposed to Mike Bubble, but that's a story for a different day. He's going to see what he's going to do with either Deshaun or Shador. We know what Quinshon Judkins can be, champ, assuming if he can stay healthy. They definitely improve with the wide receiver spot, champ, because do you want Butterfingers as Jerry Judy catching the football? Just saying.
Butterfinger BBs.
Call them bricks.
All white bricks. but hey, in the immediate, I would say. But in the immediate, I have to say that the Rams won. But the thing is, if the Cleveland Browns stay on track with the drafting that they've been able to do, I think that if they may not win a Super Bowl, but they can come out pretty good at this point in time. And that was my question. Should it be dynasty expectation for the Rams? Because each and every last one of these players that they have, they are in the prime of their career right about now.
I don't.
And
I wouldn't call. I wouldn't say dynasty yet, champ, because Howie Roseman, no matter what, he's still one of the best damn executives in football. So if there's one team that can interfere and prevent that from happening, prevent the Rams from being a dynasty, it's him. I mean, heck, how they were able to steal Malachi Lemon, even though they eventually traded AJ Brown, but the fact that they got him and they still keep this defense intact, even though they lost to Kobe Dean, who's now with the Las Vegas Raiders. But BRF,
I guess on paper, when you look at the fit of Miles Garrett with his LA Rams defense, I mean, yeah, just on paper, you want to say the Rams won this trade. But I like the defense that Cleveland's brewing up, that they cooking up there. I like the defense that they have. You still have Denzel Ward. You have
yes,
Carson Schwarzenegger, who won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Mason Graham was starting to come into his own, that defensive tackle the second half of the season. Jared
yeah,
Verse is a top 10. Jared Verse is a top 10 pass rusher in the league. Argue with the wall. He just is right now. So I definitely like the defense that they're cooking up. That defense is still going to be able to, I feel, to really keep them in games. Their ability to stop the run, play the pass. They're good defense. I like what they're cooking. The main thing with Cleveland is what are they going to get on offense, and particularly what are they going to get out of the quarterback position. I mean, it's either going to be Shadur Sanders or it's going to be Diddy Booty Watson. It's going to be one. It's going to be one of them two. it's it's going to be it's going to be one of them two quarterbacks. It's going to be one of them.
Bill Cosby Watson.
No, I like my nickname a lot better. He played entirely too much. I like my nickname a lot better. But anyway, um see, the reason why I feel like the reason Mary Kay Cabot was suggested that Deshaun Watson be the starting quarterback is simply there's 230 million reasons why you want to put him back there. You want to see if you can get one more year out of that investment. I'm sorry I got y'all like that. That's my fault. That's my fault. That's my fault. But anyway.
Well, I mean, it's not your fault that he's been hanging out with them Diddy parties, but that's a story for another day.
I mean, apparently he ain't the only one. Apparently
He-
AJ Brown and damn
we ain't even gonna talk about that AJ Brown
I'm
story.
just saying shit. We talking about Diddy parties and shit.
Bruh, shout out to OJ to B Sports. That was the first I'd ever heard that story fully explained about AJ Brown. If that's true, brother, you don't even need to go to New England. Just go away. If that story is true, just hide
You out
for
here,
like
you
a
out here,
hide for a
you out
year.
here, you out here crashing out over a massage therapist, bro.
Hide for a year
Really?
if that story is true about AJ Brown. But
But
I
isn't that
digress.
not a surprise given Robert Kraft, his
Gosh,
own thing?
Hey
but
man, it's full of
man,
scandal, man. You got Robert Kraft, you got damn what the hell the damn head coach he out here going to the church house to get a little workout himself. Then you got the damn then you got AJ Brown, he crashing out over massage therapist. What the hell
Good
going on in New
Lord.
England, bro?
All of us, man. You and Hassan Reddick. But we ain't gonna talk about it. We gonna leave it alone. We gonna leave it alone. But anyway,
They've been
but
listening to too much Monica.
Brandy and Monica, you ain't joking. You ain't joking. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, to get back to the topic at hand. But yeah, like I was saying, like Mary Kay Cabot, I understand why she was just suggesting Deshaun Watson get a shot at this. But at the same time, when you look at Deshaun Watson, he's had plenty of opportunities to really lock this job up, and he's played absolutely horrible. I mean, in my opinion, one of the top three. You can make a case top three worst contracts in the history of sports. I mean, the fact that you're giving this man a fully guaranteed contract at $230 million, and I kind of feel for him just for the drop, like what he was in 2020. Even though the Texans went like 4-12 that year, to basically have the kind of year that you had for a 4-12 team, to where I was ranking you as the third best quarterback in football after 2020. This man throws for like 4,500, 38 touchdowns, 7 picks. I mean, insane numbers. Basically, if you had a defense, if you had any shell of a defense, you might have won 9 or 10 games that year. The fall is just tragic for Deshaun Watson. I personally like what Cleveland's cooking on that defensive side of the ball. They just got to get something out of the quarterback position. I mean, and it's not like they have bad skill position players. You have Quinshawn Judkins, you have Dylan Sampson. You got a good running back tandem there. Harold Fannin Jr., one of the up and coming tight ends in the league, really showed out his rookie year. And then we give Jerry Judy all types of crap. Well, you know what? Get him out the way. We're gonna go draft Denzel Boston and KC Concepcion to be our top two wide receivers. So you instantly upgraded your wide receiver room with those two guys, let alone. So now it's just a matter of what type of production you're going to get out of the quarterback position, whether it's Deshaun Watson or whether it's Shedeur Sanders. You got to get it from somebody. I would personally like it to be Shedeur Sanders, because I feel like even though he's a rookie. He was a rookie. He made mistakes. He also made good throws. He also made plays. He also kept them in ball games last year. So I feel like he's earned a right to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. I just feel like, it's Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has completely overtaken Albert Haynesworth.
I'm starting to
But
come to the realization I'm about to ban undisputed world champ from going to New York, man. I'm gonna find any way to get him away from the New York City
No,
area.
I'm just asking. I mean,
it's
who was the
no that
worst contract, Albert Haynesworth
Deshaun
or Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson has, when you look at the expectations and how good of a, even though Albert Haynesworth was the recognized universal best defensive tackle in football at the time he signed that big contract, before he basically laid one of the biggest eggs in the history of sports, the way he played with Washington, Deshaun Watson's trajectory was first, second team all pro type of quarterback. That was the trajectory he was on coming out of Houston. Even with the quarterbacks playing in the league, like you have Josh Allen, you have Patrick Mahomes, you have Joe Burrow, you have Lamar Jackson, you still have Matthew Stafford. All these, you still have Justin
Worse than
Herbert.
Russell Wilson.
You
Yeah,
well,
because
yeah,
Russell Wilson
yeah.
nearly made the playoffs. The reason I
Yeah.
asked that
Hmm.
is because the thing is, and it almost was my Atlanta Falcons, by the way,
No, we
because
knew it was worse. No,
Ooh,
we knew it was worse than Russell Wilson,
it
champ,
yeah,
it
because
it
would
was
have been
almost my Atlanta
our
Falcons, by the
Falcons
way.
had
But
it would
when
have
you
been our
look at
Falcons
it,
had they gave him $230
but
million. It would have been.
but the thing
but
is, you look at 2021, he had already missed an entire year. Then he got suspended for damn near the entirety of the 2022 season. Now, who is going to bring a guy into their locker room, number one, with those type of allegations, number one? And number two, you've
but again, champ,
you've already missed a year and a half. You already missed a year. And guess what? Your time is going to be off after a year. You know your time's going to be off. So is it really that bad of a contract, or just was the owners just stupid? Now, I can
it's both.
understand if you
It's
look
both,
at it
champ.
on
It's both. It's both. Here's why.
yeah.
First of all, do you expect anything else from Dan Snyder and his incompetency? That's one of the reasons why, thank God for Washington, he's no longer there as the owner. Second of all, with Deshaun Watson, as you mentioned all the time with Baker Mayfield, remember how they wanted an adult in the locker room? But you
Yeah,
bring in Deshaun Watson, who's had 20 several different accusations of SA.
yeah,
You bring him into the fire knowing that he was holding out. The reason why he was holding out, not just because of the accusations, he had enough with the Texans organization when they hired the head coach, but more importantly, the GM, and how he found out about the GM hiring on social media. The same exact way he found out about the DeAndre Hopkins trade. With Deshaun Watson, regardless, you traded, you paid him a crap ton of money because you felt like this was the guy who was going to take you to the promised land, given all the accusations that he had. Still, he has not had one game in which he has thrown for over 300 yards as a Cleveland Browns guy. And the game, but we expected his game to drop, champ. You said it yourself. Timing is key.
yeah,
When you miss that amount of time, you don't pick up where you left off. You rusty. You rusty. Then like a box of crayons. So eventually it's going to take you a period of time for you to get back to your feet. But to your point, champ, it's Deshaun Watson. Because with Albert Hainsworth with Washington, even after those two excellent Pro Bowl seasons that he had in Tennessee, 2007 and 2008, I think he made first team All Pros during
both
that
of those
time.
years.
Both of
He
those
had
years.
both of those years.
Yeah, both of those years. Washington, Dan Snyder is looking to put in something. And at the same time, what do we expect from Dan Snyder, champ? This is the same guy who brought in Adam Archuleta and Ryan Clark. Both of them say play the exact position.
Yeah. The reason why I say it was Albert Hainsworth is because look, any person worth their salt was or is willing to say, look, man, this guy's timing is gonna be off. We don't need that in our locker room. Anybody with some sense, any owner with some sense. Say we don't need this guy in our locker room. He's had all of these allegations. What's gonna be the PR when it comes involving this guy? And he's already been deactivated for almost a year. That's just you being a silly owner, in my humble opinion. For the Albert Hainsworth trade, I think it was the worst contract because he didn't have a break. He wasn't suspended. He had OTAs. He was with the team. They brought him in there to be a culture changer on that team. He was the major free agent signing for that team. Made one of the top defensive tackles in the league,
And
if not
all of a
the top.
sudden, and all of a sudden became Fat Albert.
And all of no, not only that, you became so lazy, so lethargic, and then it was on display live on television.
The Monday Night Football game against the
You
Eagles, to
just
which
laid
John
there and didn't
Gruden
run
even ripped
after
him for
Michael
still
Vick,
laying on the ground.
and you didn't get up and run after Michael Vick. And then here you are out here buying the cigarette boats and stuff like that, showing everybody what you out here racing boats and shit on the internet, and doing all that nonsense, and you can't play. I attribute, look, there's a lot of factors into the Deshaun Watson situation that we could attribute it to. Timing, you could attribute it to the cases. He's missing a bunch of times, the injuries. But the thing is, I think that the reason why Albert Hainsworth is worse is because it was just pure laziness was the reason that you did that. It was just pure laziness. And it was on display. I mean, the thing is, you knew the guy was lazy when the defensive tackle from Mike in the morning, he went out there and hadn't played in years, and he passed that running test that they said Albert Hainsworth didn't want to go and do.
Yeah, it was well known that he failed physicals.
Yeah, he failed physical. So I think that Albert Hainsworth's contract was worse because of just pure laziness. You didn't have a 2-year break. You didn't have these allegations on your head. You were the best defensive tackle in the league at one point in time. And you just go to Washington and you just fell off a cliff, not because your timing was off, not because you were injured, but because you was just sorry's wet bread. I mean, you talk about being a shit sandwich. You was a soggy one at that. So I think that Albert Haynesworth's
you were like
contract,
a week old tuna sandwich.
exactly, simply off the premise of you didn't have a people. All I told people, me and BR, all of us here told everybody, I don't think they should have made that trade. Timing gonna be off. It's gonna take him a while to get that rhythm in there. You paying him all this guaranteed money. He's not gonna even be there for more than a third of the season. So this season's pretty much lost. He wasn't even gonna be a factor until his second year there, and he wasn't a factor in. So everybody worth their salt knew that, hey, that's a bad trade right there. But when you look at Albert Haynesworth, this dude, a two-time All-Pro, best defensive tackle in the league, his contract was worse because he was just pure laziness. At least with Deshaun Watson, you can look at a lot of key factors and say, okay, this is why this did not work out. With Albert Haynesworth, the common denominator was him just being lazy.
But here's the thing, big fella. What is the one thing you constantly rip Deshaun Watson for the most?
Not being dedicated.
Doesn't that say something about Deshaun Watson, given the fact that he plays quarterback, given the fact that he's the most valuable position in sports? Not to discount or disregard Albert Haynesworth, champ. You've often said whatever you post, whatever you put on social media, that's what you're concentrating on. Like myself, if it's sports, music, or entertainment, that's what I'm concentrating on. Culture with his music, that's what he's focused on. Hot Take Kenny, that's what he's focused on. BRF, same thing. That's what he's focused on. Flash, Trent, Luis, Harrison, Broad, all great content creators, podcasters, all our friends, Nessa, JoJo, Mr. Watson,
yeah,
Rec Room Sports. You tell me all the time, whatever you post on social media, that's what you're concentrating on. And considering the fact that champ Deshaun Watson, first of all, there wasn't much expectations for Washington to compete for a Super Bowl. Hell, I don't even think there was even expectations for them to win the division. But at least with Albert Haynesworth, could he at least change the culture? Could he at least bring some stability? With Deshaun Watson, you traded up despite all the situations he had off the field. You traded for him because you felt like this was the guy to go forward for you, as opposed to Baker Mayfield. And if you look at Baker Mayfield right now, it's not even close who's by far the better quarterback between Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson. But also, here's the thing, champ. I think it's still Deshaun Watson because, again, not paying enough attention to not paying enough attention to football. You talk about all the time how he posts on social media with his girlfriend, with his cigars. You talked about how he's in the press box. You always say that's a bad look, especially for somebody with that type of position, the title that he holds. So, again, when you the quarterback, when you the leader of the team, you are held on such a pedestal. A huge pedestal. Now, as far as the worst trade is concerned, I still think it's Deshaun because Baker Mayfield, he's able to go elsewhere, whether team after team, and he has improved his play. With Deshaun Watson, look, again, the only reason why we're probably saying he's going to be the starter because outside of $231 million, why is there any reason why you should start him over Shedeur Sanders? Whether you believe Shedeur Sanders is the guy or not, fair enough. But Deshaun Watson, after what you've seen from him in these past couple of seasons, yes, we understand that he had the off the field issues, and you knew that if you were Cleveland, you knew that you were willing to accept that. Because you were willing to move on from Baker Mayfield, who you said we needed an adult in the locker room, but you bring in Deshaun Watson. How does that look? And Deshaun Watson, before all these accusations, you had great character. If I recall, Dabo Swinney said, if you pass Deshaun on the draft, if you pass him in the draft, it's kind of like you're passing up on Michael Jordan. Because before Deshaun Watson, with all these accusations, Deshaun Watson had great character. That's now expunged now.
I mean, did he really have good character considering, certain tapes that arose on the internet beforehand?
In Cleveland, when he was in Clemson,
When he first got the damn Houston. Y'all remember, he had this certain young lady on a video with him when he was in Houston, right?
Oh,
So I mean, the signs were there.
but
and
I mean, I'm just saying.
here's my no. See, here's my thing. I gotta chime in on this because I think we're kind of missing some points here. When you look at the play per dollar alone with the Deshaun Watson deal and then the Albert Hainsworth deal, I feel like Deshaun Watson dwarfs Albert Hainsworth. When you look at the position and the value that they bring, when you look at the position and when you look at the value that each position is supposed to bring, I feel like Deshaun Watson's, as bad as it is, knocks Albert Hainsworth out the water. But I think we're missing a very important point here. PSP, you were chiming in a little bit. I'm going to piggyback off it a little bit. When you look at the Deshaun Watson situation and you look at the fact that it's not just one franchise being affected, it's three franchises being affected. When you look at the Houston Texans, who was able to go out draft CJ Stroud, they have not missed the playoffs
every
with CJ
single year
Stroud,
since he was
CJ
traded.
Stroud as a quarterback, regardless of his regression and all. They haven't missed the playoffs with CJ Stroud since they traded Deshaun Watson. When you look at Baker Mayfield, he goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's playing like the best ball of his career just because. And then you look at the Cleveland Browns, thinking that he wasn't mature enough, he wasn't ready to take on that mantle. So let's go give $230 million to a guy with all these lawsuits, staring him in the face, guaranteed at that. And he's done absolutely nothing with it. I look at positional value with the quarterback as opposed to the defensive tackle, and I get it with Albert Hainsworth because you were brought in to be a guy that's supposed to kind of shape shift as far as like some culture or whatnot with Washington, and he was horrible. But when I look at Deshaun Watson, and when you look at expectations that the Cleveland Browns had, as supposed, was contending for the AFC North, possibly taking it to that next step with a guy that maybe has upside, a ceiling to get you to a possible AFC championship, maybe to a Super Bowl. Because I mean, it's not like they're bad on defense. It's not like they've been horrible on defense. They've always had talent. Because I mean, Myles Garrett's been there, Denzel Ward's been there. I mean, they've had talent on the defensive side of the ball.
It's just been bad quarterback play.
Yeah, exactly. And with Deshaun Watson, it's been awful quarterback play. The crazy thing about it, Deshaun Watson, I think, has a winning record as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, or he's close to 500. But that's not because of him. That's because that defense has done God miracle wonders to keep that team in games to where they can still win. And because he's not making the plays at the end of the game, he's making dumb reads, he's making turnovers, he's doing everything.
9-10 BRF.
That's what I'm saying.
His record. That's his record since he's been the starter for the Cleveland Browns.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that he's been as bad as he's been, but yet he's only one game under 500 because that defense has saved his life numerous occasions and have kept him in games. But because he's made bad decisions throwing the ball, they've been. I just feel like the value of the contracts and for me it's Deshaun. Like I said, I think the biggest point we've missed is the number of franchise that this one guy has. He's basically seen the Houston Texans basically almost just build a god tier defense, but yet and have a quarterback that can come in and ball well and just able to keep themselves afloat. And now we're talking about Houston is like, oh man, if CJ Stroud just gives us good quarterback play with this defense, they are a Super Bowl contender. And it's just I just feel like as bad as the Albert Hainsworth deal was, the fact that it only affected him And the fact that the Deshaun Watson deal has lasting effects on multiple franchises, that does it
That
for me.
speaks for
That does it for me.
itself. And on the top of the fact, the value. When Washington brought in Albert Hainsworth, it's not like you were getting Aaron Donald or John Randall or somebody like that. You were getting a good enough player in from Tennessee to help contribute and be somewhat of a pillar for the franchise. But when you brought in Deshaun Watson, given all the accusations that he had, you were expected to get that far to the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield, before Deshaun Watson, was able to help the Cleveland Browns get to their first playoff appearance since 2002. They were able to win a playoff game. I think the first time they did that before 2020, I think you got to go back to 1994
In Pittsburgh.
at Pittsburgh. And they didn't just win, they kicked their ass from from the beginning to the end of the game. And we also, champ, because you mentioned it time with Kevin Stefanski. Why did he win Coach of the Year for the second time? Deshaun Watson didn't play, and they brought in Joe Flacco straight out of his couch. And Joe Flacco, I think, didn't he win Comeback Player of the Year that year?
Only played
fresh off
6
the golf
games.
course.
Played 6 games, won Comeback Player of the Year.
So that to me is still the worst contract because, again, the expectations, to BRF's point, how the Deshaun Watson trade has impacted not only the Browns organization, but also the Houston Texans organization. Because regardless of whatever you say about CJ Stroud and his regression, I still believe CJ Stroud will have a big year in year 4. And look at the defense that they have with D'Amico Ryans, with Will Anderson, with Danielle Hunter, with Derek Stingley Jr. They're still loaded with pieces. And the fact that they were able to move on from Deshaun Watson, that tells you something. They still have got to get to a conference championship game, champ. But still, with Deshaun Watson, to me, is still the worst trade because I don't expect much from Daniel Snyder. Because when it comes to accumulating talent, when it comes to building a culture in Washington, and you know how horrendous he has been as an owner in terms of putting on the field product, and we already know about the off-field stuff, which we won't even take the time to get into. We already know. But to me, champ, I say Deshaun Watson because the higher the expectations, because again, quarterback or defensive tackle, I'm sorry, champ, I know you value a lot of other positions, but ultimately, when it comes to the value of the position,
you're right.
And not only that, to BRF's point, how it's impacted franchises. And you always say, and you always bring up social media, what you post on social media. That is an indication of who you are. If Deshaun Watson is posting all the stuff on social media, knowing with all this SA accusations and knowing how bad he has been with the Cleveland Browns, what am I doing?
This does not. But I will say this though, even though we were saying Deshaun Watson is the worst of the two, this does not take away one iota how bad that trade was getting Albert Hainsworth because
no, he was signed in free agency.
Yeah, well, signing free agency.
That's why I asked contract.
Yeah, the D. Okay, so yeah, I'll say
Nevertheless, as a Commanders fan, Washington has the worst experience when it comes to free agent signings. When you think Albert Hainsworth, that's the poster boy. That's the poster boy. I'm sorry. He's on the face of a milk carton when it comes to bad free agent signings.
Like, I don't like, man.
Let's not forget Sean Springs.
Oh God, not Sean Springs.
My bad. PSP looked like, damn, you had to bring that shit up.
I will say this though. I think the one that I wasn't expecting to go as good as it did, and it was amazing for Washington, and not a lot of people give them credit for this one, is Santana Moss.
Yes. He was a
Santana,
very
the
good
Santana
player,
Moss, yes.
especially how fluid he was. Not only that, he
Yes.
can also contribute with special teams as well.
Santana Moss is one of the more underrated players we have had in the league, I would say, over the last
Not just
20
him,
plus.
also not just him, Clinton Portis.
He was another good one.
Oh,
And another good one.
London
Another
Fletcher.
good one. And another good one we don't talk about that should get a little more praise. Pierre Garçon. He was really good for Washington too.
London
And
Fletcher.
London Fletcher, especially London Fletcher.
I love
Also,
London Fletcher.
you also very. He wasn't the biggest dude at the linebacker spot. I think he's he's not even 6 feet. Probably
No,
what,
he's
5'11"?
he's like 5'10", 5'11",
5'8".
but yeah, he was shorter than that.
Yeah,
but
he's 5'8".
he was athletic. He was a thumper, and
Yeah,
that's why
he could
why a
hit.
lot of people love this game. He was a thumper.
Also,
he just hit you.
Also, another great, very underrated tight end during that time, Chris Cooley.
Oh,
Yes.
he was so good.
He was
so good.
And also another good tight end who used to play, who's from the Connecticut area, went to New London, Connecticut, grew up in New London, Connecticut. That's where I went to school, Mitchell College. Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed had durability problems throughout his time in Washington.
I thought Jordan Reed was about to become one of them ones. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, that's been his problem. But worst contract ever is Deshaun Watson to me. But interesting question, Champ. As you always say, great minds think alike.
That was a good question. That was a
well,
really good question.
I'm definitely going to clip this. I'm definitely going to clip this part. But
pipe bomb.
But we all agree. I think the Rams, it's fair to say they won this trade because of the expectations. To your point, Champ, to your point, Champ, yes, F them picks, but I'm not just saying that with the first rounds or the second round picks. They are able to steal a lot of talent, whether third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and look what they've done. They're like, please, what difference would it make? And we just got one of the preeminent defensive players still in his prime. So this elevates our chances as far as getting to a Super Bowl and winning one. And the fact that this Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day, by the way, at their stadium. So I think that does kind of add chances because remember, 4 years ago, they won the Super Bowl at their stadium against the Cincinnati Bengals. Also, the great performance of Dr. Dre, Snoop, 50 Cent, Eminem, and Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, shout out to OBJ. He doesn't tear his ACL in that game. He's Super Bowl MVP. Not even close.
Yes. But speaking of which, let's talk about OBJ. He's now back with the New York Giants on a 1-year deal. I think the only reason why the Giants are doing this, I think, in my opinion, to kind of thank you for the contributions, but I also think, and this is just a conspiracy theory, y'all can say whatever y'all want with this, I think it's just a way to get people to distract themselves from the Jackson Dart news. Because obviously y'all heard of the Jackson Dart news lately and the backlash that Jackson Dart got. But in the end, Odell back with the Giants. Everyone's going to remember his phenomenal rookie season. Of course, what catapulted his career was the Sunday Night Football game against the Dallas Cowboys. Although they lost that game, three fingers when he caught that football. Definitely brought a lot of excitement. And it's always going to be a what if with New York. Because Eli was a few years younger, around 35, 36 at that time. You had Eli, you had Saquon Barkley, you had Odell, you had Sterling Shepard, you had Evan Ingram. I mean, just look at the amount of talent that you had. Evan Ingram, he was physical, he had speed. The problem was early in his career, I think he had issues with drops. Sterling Shepard was an excellent number 2, number 3 option. Very good with the speed. Odell, when you talk about route running, the way he can catch the football, I mean, at that point, the third best wide receiver in the NFL, only 2 wide receivers, of course, you would take above him is Antonio Brown and Julio Jones. And then Saquon early in his career. It's just, unfortunately for Odell, it's always going to be a what if. Because after New York, he gets traded to Cleveland. Baker Mayfield had an excellent rookie season. Baker and Odell, the young tandem, how would that work out? And unfortunately, it did not. Then he went on from team to team. I was happy for him that he was able to go to the Rams and win a Super Bowl. Before the injury, he was cooking.
Oh
He
man,
was cooking.
cooking with fish grease.
Fish grease, and also let's not forget that red beans and rice with some gravy. Can't forget that. But I think with Odell, it's always going to be what if. Had it not been for injuries, I believe he would make it to the Hall of Fame because he had that type of talent and ability. The yak, the hands, the speed, the route running ability. I think with New York, they just need some help with the wide receiver spot because again, we don't know with Malik Neighbors, and also I do think Malik Neighbors, Odell Beckham, the thing, LSU, so the brotherhood, so that kind of helps out as well.
Yes.
And I think Odell can be a mentor for Malik Neighbors, so I also think that's also going to be a benefit. I definitely think it's going to bring an excitement, and especially the fact that even though they play in East Rutherford, New Jersey, still the New York market. Odell may not be the player that he was before, but he'll give you some flashes of what he was. And who knows, he may bring some excitement. Who knows, he may dye his hair blonde again for all we know. Because again, he did. Say what you want, but that hair that he was rocking back in them days, the blonde hair, y'all can say whatever y'all want. I know that's not Champs flavor, neither is BRF's, but that was cool though when he
It
was
was
rocking the.
cool. It was cool. I like that. Man, oh, look, I gave OBJ a lot of hell, just like I used to give Allen Iverson hell, because guess what? I was a homer. I used to, when they asked me who was better out of him and Julio, I was gonna ride for Julio. So that's just a thing. And I used to call him overrated. And I used to say he was overrated, but that's because, like I said, I was riding for the home team, that being Julio and Rowdy. I thought that they were better at a certain point. But the thing is, I gotta give I gotta give OBJ a lot of credit, man. He came in and he was top five. I mean, he brought a lot of excitement to that New York franchise, man. I hate that he got hurt. And remember, the first couple of years, he had more receiving yards than Randy Moss.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went. I shout out to Google One. I got it on the phone right here. Year by year breakdown of his first 3 seasons. 2014, 91 catches, 1,305 yards, 12 touchdowns, 12 games. Easy AP NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. 2015, 96 receptions, 1,450 yards, and 13 touchdowns. 2016, 101 receptions, 1,367 yards, 10 touchdowns. Made the Pro Bowl all 3 years. Second team All Pro all 3 years. 4,122 receiving yards. I think that's the most in a 3-year span ever. So, like his first hit, that trajectory of the first 3 years, you're easily thinking Hall of Fame with OBJ. But then the trade to Cleveland, and then the injuries, and then it's just like, yeah. And and the fact that he still ended up with almost 8,000 career yards with that kind of, kind of like downfall in his career is a testament to how talented he is as a wide receiver to get that many yards still. But yeah, like
He
we
was
should
unique.
we should easily be talking about Odell Beckham Jr. as one of the greatest wide receivers ever. He should be like 12, 13,000 yards, well over 100 touchdowns. I mean, he should be in the Julio conversations, the Antonio Brown conversations. Like, he should be up there with those guys when we're talking about potential, first ballot Hall of Famers. OBJ should be up there, but he just hated with all the injuries and everything. But I I I kind of like that. I kind of like that New York kind of brought him back. I mean, yeah, like y'all were talking about, like with the depth or anything, with the depth of the wide receiver position, like I know you're not sure, you're unsure of what you're going to get as far as Malik Neighbors. Is he going to come out to being that that top 10 talent that he's been really the first couple of years of his career before the injury? Um, yeah, I definitely do think it's a little bit of a distraction with all the other stuff that's going on up there in New York. But honestly, though, I think Odell Beckham Jr. deserves one. He deserves one good ride off into the sunset, whether it's the Giants or like if they fall out of contention, if he becomes available for a trade for a contending team in the upcoming season, which I honestly feel is going to end up happening. he deserves a ride in the sunset. He deserves a shot to really kind of, you know, if anything, go to a good team and just really kind of let his play do the talking, just be a contributor. I feel like he deserves that much. So I mean, it sucks that we're not talking about him among the greats ever. But when you look at that 2014 to 2016 run, I mean, it's like when you look at all time peaks in football, regardless of position, his is right up there. Like with the Lawrence Taylors of the world, the Reggie Whites of the world, the Deion Sanders of the world, like coming the Clinton Portises of the world, like just coming into the league and instantly putting your flag in the ground as far as like who you are and what you're about to be. His peak is up there with like one of the great, with like some of the great 3-year runs in the history of the sport. I mean, it was just what he was doing was just his ability to take a slant and take it to the house was uncanny. Like Odell was just he was a different breed.
Remember that
And it
Sunday night football game against the Dallas Cowboys? I think in his third season when he caught that slant and ran all the way for a touchdown.
That was one of the
Yep.
prettiest things I've ever seen. That was like I love a good slant, and that receiver just takes it and barely and is just able to outrun everybody. I think that's one of the best like oh my god plays in football. When a guy take a slant and take it to the house like that, that is one of the best oh my god plays in football. And I think there were very few that could do it like Odell at his peak. Because you don't really talk about the speed game much with him, but when you see him run, it's like, oh my gosh, you forget how fast Odell Beckham was at his peak.
Yeah. But I'm glad that he's back in New York, New Jersey. Hopefully, I'll go to a couple of Giants games. Who knows? I know some people. I got some connections in the New Jersey area. Hopefully, I'll bring in Champ one day to the game with the great D as well. But trust me, big fella, them food in New York though is not as good as Atlanta. Just letting you know, if you go to New Jersey, it's not bad though, but it ain't Atlanta food. Atlanta food is.
Oh, for real?
I mean, them cookies are expensive. The brownies, the cookies are expensive. I mean, in New York, if you're just gonna get like a cheeseburger or a fry, Atlanta, you go for them wings. You go for the wings, them fries, everything else, man. That's why I love Southern hospitality. And one of the things that they provide with Southern hospitality is good food. But speaking of a former Giant, Russell Wilson, obviously after 14 years in the NFL, Russell Wilson finally decided to retire. He will be moving on as an NFL analyst, I believe, on CBS Sports. Correct me if I'm right,
Yes,
Yeah,
BRF champ. Yes.
CBS.
that's right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
CBS. He was
Um,
on there today doing
yes.
promotions and everything.
When I look at Russell Wilson, for me, I believe he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I can't believe we're even asking this question about whether Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer or not, because when you look at his resume as a starter, 121, 80, and 1. I mean, he finished his career with 353 touchdown passes to 114 interceptions, slightly behind 47,000 yards, a completion percentage of 64.6. Been to 2 Super Bowls, won one, been to 10 Pro Bowls. People will always say, well, it was the Legion of Boom defense, it was Pete Carroll, but still at the end of the day, he had to do his job in order for Seattle to compete. And initially, when he was on the team, he was drafted in the third round out of Wisconsin. It was supposed to actually be Matt Flynn's team because they brought in Matt Flynn in free agency, if I recall.
That's correct.
Um, he goes to Denver. To me, I believe the reason why he went to Denver because Denver was offering more money that he couldn't deny. He wanted to stay in Seattle. He wanted a big contract in Seattle. Seattle, for whatever reason, decided not to do it. And I think for Denver, they decided to bring him on because, look, they missed out on the opportunity of getting Aaron Rodgers. That's why they brought in Nathaniel Hackett, I believe the former offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. That was the only reason why they brought in Nathaniel Hackett because they felt like they had a chance to bring in Aaron Rodgers. The first year for Russell Wilson was a huge disappointment, particularly not only the fact that they traded him, give up so much draft compensation, but you paid him 5 years, $245 million. And Denver Broncos fell short of expectations. The following season, they were still close enough to compete for the playoffs. And remember, Champ, the last few games, they benched him.
Yeah, he had a chance to make the playoffs that last couple of years, that last year that they had him, and they just wanted him to take their injury clause out, which I don't blame him. Hell, I'm out here playing. If I get hurt and that injury clause ain't in there, then it just be my luck. So I don't blame him. I'm not doing it either. And look, man, he handled himself like a pro. When he was getting screamed at by Sean Payton and he was getting hollered at and all that type of nonsense, guess what?
Stop kissing the babies.
Yeah,
Be more of a player. Russ,
yeah,
very mild mannered. Made sure he didn't get into any trouble, off the field issues or anything like that. I believe yes, he is a Hall of Famer.
yes,
Is he a first ballot? No, I can't go as far as calling him first ballot. But if you want to say a second or a third ballot, yes. And to an extent, he and Drew Brees, they changed the game of football, especially at the quarterback position. Because again, quarterbacks, they're supposed to be 6'3, 6'4, 6'5, 230, 240. Russell Wilson, you talk about champ Drew Brees not being 6 feet. Russell Wilson is probably around 5'10, 5'11,
yeah,
and probably around 215, 220. But what makes Russell so unique, his improvisation, the way he can extend plays. Deep ball. Was there a prettier deep ball passer than him, than Russell Wilson at that
yeah,
time? Not to mention, he came from a baseball background.
yeah,
In 2015, if you look at Russell Wilson during that season, 34 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, first time he threw for over 4,000 yards. Later in that season, Russell Wilson was in the conversations for the MVP.
yeah,
So when I look at Russell Wilson, I believe he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I don't have him as a first ballot because when I think of the first ballots, I think of the transcendence. I think of an Aaron Rodgers, a Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton. I think of Ray Lewis. I think of Gronk. I think of guys like that, guys who completely changed the game. Although you can say that Russ did kind of change the game because no one anticipated a quarterback of his size to have this type of success. I think Russ would have more of a case for the Hall of Fame had he done exactly what he did in Denver like he did in Seattle.
yeah,
If he had done that, he didn't have to win a Super Bowl champ. But if he would make the Denver Broncos legitimate and still producing, I think he would have more of a case for the Hall of Fame. I still believe he is a Hall of Famer.
Stop following me.
They always come in. Come on, y'all. Oh, never mind. She brought me sweets. I'm good.
Now, that is what you call improvisation.
But at the same time, when I think of Russell Wilson, look, I think the moral of the story is very good quarterback throughout his time in Seattle. I think he didn't get enough love or recognition because they always talk about the Legion of Boom defense and beast mode. Um, yes, there have been questions about his leadership, how the way he was as a teammate. Even though, champ, to your point, he's always conducting himself like a model citizen. I believe he is a Hall of Famer, not as a first ballot. And my thing is, with the Hall of Fame, I can't take it seriously anymore because I'm not even sure what's a Hall of Famer according to their criteria. Look, Eli Manning, outside of those 2 Super Bowls and those 2 Super Bowl MVPs, can y'all really say he's a Hall of Famer? Outside of those 2 Super Bowls, those 2 Super Bowl MVPs, if Eli could get in based on what he did as far as the 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, okay, fine. I still believe Russell Wilson should be in the Hall of Fame because you look at Eli Manning's level of play compared to Russell Wilson's.
Okay.
Was Eli Manning ever really a consistent top 5, top 10 level type of quarterback?
He
After all,
was.
this is this.
He was
he's
never.
this-
He was never top 5, and he was out. And he was. Honestly, I
I
don't
was
think he was
gonna.
ever top 10. He might have had like one top 10 season.
He's had a few seasons, but after all, he's led the league in interceptions 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah, I give him like 1 to 2, maybe legit borderline top 10 seasons. But yeah, like, like if you
And
like, I'm with you. Like outside of, and I know people are like, oh well, you can't necessarily take, you can't take the, the accolades and the accomplishments away. I'm like, true, but even still, when you look at both of those championships, the seasons that he had, leading up to that, weren't that good. He just started. Those 2 runs in the playoffs, the team and particularly the defense, they clicked and they kind of ran with it.
yeah, undisputed world champ is taking care of something real quick. But BRF, I can't believe I'm
Mm.
asking this question. In your opinion, do you think Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. And trust me, I completely understand why you feel that way as far as asking that question. Russell Wilson is absolutely a Hall of Famer. 10-time Pro Bowler. He's the only quarterback in the history of the league with 40,000 passing yards and 5,000 rushing yards. He's the only quarterback to ever do that. He has the Super Bowl championship with the Seattle Seahawks. Um, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. He is definitely a Hall of Famer. I feel like Russell Wilson over the course of his career was in terms of just sheer play at the quarterback position. When you look at the quarterbacks that played in this era, which in my opinion is the greatest quarterback era in the history of the league, when you look at the Peytons, the Bradys, Roethlisberger, Ryan, Russell Wilson, Philip Rivers, just just the depth. Drew Brees. I mean, the depth was just insane. Um, the fact that Russell Wilson was maintaining a level as far as like being in top 5 quarterback consideration in the league for a good 4 to, even after the Legion of Boom really kind of dissolved and the defense wasn't as good, when they were more built around the Seahawks and their ability to kind of score, the fact that he was still in those conversations for a good 4 to 6, 7 years after the Legion of Boom really wasn't like what it was. I mean, like you have to say Russell Wilson is definitely a Hall of Fame level quarterback. He should get in. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he might not. Yeah, I don't. He probably won't. He probably won't get in the first ballot when you look at players that are coming up to being, being eligible for the Hall of Fame. When you look at players that are getting ready to be eligible, he probably won't get in first ballot. But you know, a year, two. I personally don't think get past. He should not get past the third ballot as far as getting into the Hall of Fame. He shouldn't get past the third. I personally don't think he should get past the second, but I definitely don't think he should get past the third. When you really kind of just look at how good he was and how consistent he was through multiple facets of that team, when they were defensive first and then they became offensive first, and then he picked his level of play up when they became a more offensive first team. I mean, it's a testament to the work ethic and how good of a player he was. And you brought up his improvisational skills, being able to play out of structure, but he was still a really good and he was really still a good pocket passer. And I feel like there are very few quarterbacks that rival his deep ball. Like I think Aaron Rodgers rivals his deep ball from a more underrated standpoint. I think Drew Brees, his deep ball rivals him from a more underrated side of things. But there are very few quarterbacks that could really throw like moonshots the way Russell
Mahomes.
Wilson did, and they were like on target. Like the dude hardly ever missed when he flung those deep balls. He hardly ever missed. They were pretty. I mean, they were usually always high, but he always put him in the best position for his receivers to come down with the ball. I mean, watching Russell Wilson play, man, hey, as a Falcons fan, and seeing him twice in the playoffs, we were lucky to beat him both times in the playoffs when we saw him. But even still, just
Do you remember Deshaun Watson in his rookie game in which he and Russell Wilson they went toe to toe for each other? This was during Deshaun's rookie season.
think I do remember that game.
Yeah. That's that duo that they had.
That was the game. And unfortunately, days after that game, Deshaun Watson was ruled out for the remainder of the season because he tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I believe he is a Hall of Famer champ because my thing is look, you can't disregard what he accomplished in Seattle. Some people they'll try to diminish it because of Denver, New England, New York, and Pittsburgh, but you can't tell the story without Seattle. You
No.
can't leave out Seattle. You can't disregard what he was able to accomplish. And my thing is, look, if are we sure Eli? I believe he's going to the Hall of Fame. Philip Rivers. Do y'all believe Philip Rivers is going to the Hall of Fame? I believe yes, based on consistency and numbers he was able to put up. Furthermore, he even validated his case. Him coming off his couch at 44 years old, still playing better quarterback than most of these young guys. So that kind of tells you how advanced Philip Rivers is
What he
compared
did
to
with
these
what
quarterbacks
he
nowadays.
Yep.
what he did with the Colts was crazy.
Hey, hey. One thing that stands out to me about Russell Wilson is this. Well, one thing that stands out to me in the Hall of Fame is this. There's only one black quarterback in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Only one. And he himself talks about how that is a lonely process because there is no other black quarterback in the Hall of Fame. Do y'all know who that other quarterback is? That quarterback is Warren Moon, and
Moon.
Wilson has more yards than Warren Moon and more touchdowns than Warren Moon, and has more rushing yards than Warren Moon. Look, not to mention, first black quarterback to go to two Super Bowls, only the second black quarterback in order to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, you can't write the history of the NFL without Russell Wilson. Only the second black quarterback in order to win a Super Bowl. Think about that for a second. The first black quarterback to go to two consecutive Super Bowls. Talk about all you want to about Russ and they the Legion of Boom or whatever, but let me throw out in the great words of Coach Carter some stats for that ass real quick. Let me throw out some stats for that ass real quick. Do you know who is top 10 in fourth quarter comebacks in the history of the NFL?
Russell Wilson.
He is number 9. Guess who he is in front of? Let me throw out some names. He is in front of John Elway, Philip Rivers, Fran Tarkenton, Brett Favre, and Joe Montana in fourth quarter comebacks.
Every single one of them had a solid reputation for bringing their teams back, and that's the
And
crazy
every
part about
single
it.
one of them had. And as a Falcons fan, he gave us plenty of damn scares. Plenty of scares. And they talk about the Legion of Boom, but who was bringing them back in the fourth quarter on offense? It was Russell Wilson. Who gave them a chance to stay in the game every single week? Russell Wilson. I understand that the quiet and the model citizen doesn't necessarily get the credit that he deserves, and he's overhated for various reasons because he was a model citizen. But the thing is, he did his job in order to get that team to a Super Bowl. He was to the Legion of Boom what Jim McMahon was to the '85 Bears.
I like that.
But
But
obviously,
a
I
hell of a
mean,
lot better
hell of a
and a
lot
hell of a
better.
lot more durable. But
Hell of
when
a
you
lot more,
talk
a
about
lot better.
guys who were on defensive teams, and if you look at them, they're very similar. Quarterbacks who can bring their team back, IQ off the charts. Their main offensive weapon was their running back. They had some few decent receivers, wasn't no real super standout guy. There wasn't no undisputed number one guys he was throwing to like that.
nope,
He
he
had
didn't
Tyler
have that.
Lockett and a couple other guys here and there, but he never had that undisputed number one receiver. He never had a Julio Jones. He didn't have an Antonio Brown. He didn't have an Odell Beckham. The guys he had were good, but they wasn't those A1 alpha guys at the number one receiver position. He had his running back, and then it was Russ, and he was going to bring them back. 32 fourth quarter comebacks. He's right behind Dan Marino, Johnny Unitas, Drew Brees, and Matt Ryan, who's also a Hall of Famer. Matt Ryan will get into to the Hall of Fame,
Oh,
undoubtedly.
champ. I've been beating that drum for the last 2-3
So
years.
let's
That's
not
that's
kid
a
ourselves.
no-brainer.
Let's not kid ourselves. Without Russell Wilson, there is no look. We've seen a hell of a lot of great defenses that could not get the job done because they didn't have a quarterback. We've seen a hell of a lot of them. We've seen it. So let's not kid ourselves about. Look at the Minnesota Vikings of the 80s and look how great their defenses were. They didn't have a quarterback, couldn't get the job done. Look at the Dome Patrol, the best linebacker core in history. 2 Hall of Famers, maybe even 3 when it's all said and done. If Pat Swilling gets in there, couldn't get to a Super Bowl. Without Russell Wilson, there is no Super Bowl appearances and there is no Super Bowl for the Legion of Boom. And he was a 3rd rounder. He was not one of these guys that came out of college highly touted.
Nope, not at all.
He was, and they had just signed Matt Flynn to a 3-year, $33 million deal. He wasn't even supposed to be, to your point, PSP, the starting quarterback.
It was supposed to be him, but Pete Carroll eventually decided to go with the young gun in Russell Wilson. But ironic, I'm sorry, I digress, champ, because eventually Matt Flynn was still able to move on and get contracts. But Russell Wilson, there
He was
is
still
no
productive
Super Bowl
even after
without
those
him.
Legion of Boom years.
No, that's my point. But that's one of the reasons why it validates his Hall of Fame case, because after that Super Bowl, the second one, their defense started to decline.
Mhm.
Guys were getting older, injuries and stuff like that. But Russell Wilson was like, okay, now this is now your team. We're going to put this around you. And Russell Wilson was still playing at high caliber levels, still giving you over 4,000 yards, 30 something touchdowns. It's just that he doesn't get enough credit, to your point, champ, because they look at his personality, his attitude, and they look at how other teammates have said things about him. Richard Sherman, Marshawn Lynch, and others. Still, and all that doesn't diminish nor disregard what he did. Okay, you may not like the guy, fine. You don't have to like the guy. Everybody's not everybody's cup of tea. That being said, you can't deny his results in production. And plus, the other reason why cats don't like him necessarily, jealousy. Hell, you said yourself, hell, I could be corny as all I want as long as I'm going home with that beautiful woman.
Not only
Which by
that.
the way, at the end of the day, he gonna be just fine because Russell
Yeah.
Wilson has made a ton of money throughout his career. Plus, you don't hear you don't hear nothing about you hear nothing about fantastic things about him off the football field. I believe Russ will be fine, and I think we should just give him more love and credit where it's due. And not to mention, he did change the game due to his size.
Yeah.
Again, he's not 6'5", he's not 6'6", he's not 230, he's not 240. He is at his size with the baseball background that he has and his ability to play off structure and to still make throws and still lead teams to wins. And plus, champ, before the second Super Bowl, the NFC Championship game against the Green Bay Packers. Yes, statistically, his worst performance in his career. He threw 4 interceptions. But what about that game-winning touchdown, the beautiful touchdown pass he threw to Jermaine Kearse in overtime?
Yeah.
What about the incredible moments that he's had with Seattle? He gave a lot of teams nightmares because you don't know what to expect with Russell Wilson when he plays off structure. That's what made him so unique, so exciting.
Hell,
It's
look
just
at his rookie year.
Yes, 26 touchdown passes to 10 interceptions. He won Rookie of the Year that year. By the way, when RG3 was balling that year, because RG3 was able to make the Pro Bowl like Russell Wilson, but RG3 won Offensive Rookie of the Year. But when you look at Russell Wilson, Hall of Famer, because to me, and the reason why I can't believe I'm asking this question, I would like to think we all know what a Hall of Famer is when we see one. When people say no, that's not a Hall of Famer, even though that the results, the talent is there, like I always say, don't tell me the shit coming from your drawers is chocolate, and I'm expecting that's a Hershey Kiss or something like that. And the NFL, they have to be consistent. My thing is, champ, ever since with T.O. and more importantly with Bill Belichick,
Yes.
I'm starting to question and wonder who's a Hall of Famer and who's not. Now, if you ask me based on the eye test, the results, the production, yes, Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer. But the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, has their own criteria. So I'm kind of wondering, okay, based on your criteria, who's a Hall of Famer and who's not? Because when you look at Russell Wilson's career, a perennial Pro Bowl quarterback, been consistent, been considered a top 5, top 10 quarterback during his prime. No off the field issues whatsoever. I mean, even though there have been people who said things about him as far as how he carries himself as a teammate, still in all, it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt the team as far as winning throughout his time in Seattle. And the thing is, I really got to ask ourselves with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because you all know there's another quarterback that's going to be eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in Ben Roethlisberger. He will be eligible in 2027. This will be like his 5th year, because in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you gotta wait for like 5 years. Based on his on the field results and based on his talent, yes, Ben Roethlisberger should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But I also have to wonder, should he be in because of off the field? Because we can't disregard them off the field issues. But I believe that Ben may have preferential treatment because, after all, he played in Pittsburgh for 18 years. And not only that, to your point, champ, you also added he was able to win with multiple head coaches, Mike Tomlin and Bill Cowher. So I'm kind of wondering about the Hall of Fame process. Who's a Hall of Famer, who's not? That's the only reason why I'm asking this question, because of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's criteria. Now, if it were our criteria, hell yeah, Russell Wilson would be in easily. I don't believe he's a first ballot, unfortunately. But if you want to make an argument, second or third ballot, and if we're going to say Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer, look, to your point, champ, we've talked about it, Eli or Jalen Hurts. We agree. Jalen Hurts has more of a case to be considered more of a Hall of Famer than Eli.
Mm-hmm. Hey, like I said, Russell Wilson deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. You can't write the history of the NFL. Like I said, only the second black quarterback in order to win. Ninth and fourth quarter comebacks, 10 Pro Bowls, all pro, was able to change the game due to him being a short quarterback. I mean, just being real. Without Russ, they don't win the Super Bowl because of his improvisation and him being a hell of a quarterback. Like I stated, look at those first 2 years. Look at those comebacks. I know we love to talk about the Legion of Doom and the loud guys and the rah-rah guys, but look who was bringing them back in the fourth quarter. Look who was throwing them last-minute touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Going on the road kicking ass. It was Russell Wilson. And like I said, doing that as a short quarterback. So I don't understand people like to hate on Russ. He's very, very much overhated. The good guy is always overhated. They don't nobody, in the great words, of Samuel Jackson, how can I trust a man that don't eat a good old-fashioned American hot dog? That's Russell Wilson. But guess what? Russ won. He did it when it mattered most. He was a winner. He was the Pepsi Rookie of the Year. He was the Walter Payton Man of the Year, 10 Pro Bowls, passer rating title, passing touchdown title. And he did that as a third rounder, 75th pick overall, coming out of Wisconsin. So took the guy's position who was supposed to go ahead of him. He has more touchdowns and more yards than Warren Moon. If you look at him and Warren Moon's resume outside of the Super Bowl appearances, they look nearly identical. Warren Moon has Walter Payton Man of the Year, passing title, passer rating title, all pro. If you look at Russell Wilson and Warren Moon's NFL, keeping it strictly in the NFL. We're not talking about the Canadian Football League with the Grey Cups. Put Warren Moon and Russell Wilson's resume, excluding the Super Bowl, side by side, and do a blind rating. They look nearly identical. And much like Russ, Warren Moon won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award in 1990.
Yes.
So go look up Warren Moon stats and go look at Russell Wilson stats. They are identical. You cannot tell me that Russ does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
And another thing I want to bring up real quick, something we don't necessarily talk about. Everybody talks about those Legion of Boom years, and I mean deservedly so. They're one of the greatest defenses in the history of the sport. Russell Wilson has two top five offensive player of the year finishes during those Legion of Boom years. So that's a testament to how good he still was on offense, even with those defensive powerhouses they were sporting in Seattle. He has two top five offensive player of the year finishes.
So that adds on to his legacy. But no doubt about it, Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer. If you want to argue he's not a first ballot, okay, that's fair to say. But to say that he's not a Hall of Famer, he was just a product of the Legion of Boom defense. Yes, unfortunately, he wasn't able to have the type of success in Denver or Pittsburgh or New York like he had in Seattle. But still, can you tell the story of Russell Wilson without Seattle? You can't. So you have to include that. And with the Hall of Fame, my biggest problem is just their criteria. Just keep it consistent. That's all I'm saying. Because if you're going to say Eli's a Hall of Famer, okay, fine. If you're going to say Philip Rivers is a Hall of Famer, okay, fine. Just keep the same energy. That's all we asking. Uh, one more NFL issue before we get on to babyface or heel. AJ Brown traded to New England Patriots. No surprise, it was going to happen eventually. It was kind of interesting with that interview he did with Maria Taylor. Did y'all see the New England Patriots rug that he had?
He
Look,
had a rug.
yeah, he had
He,
the rug, and he said he's been there since his Philadelphia Eagles days. Look, I can understand somebody being your team, but look, a lot of this shit that AJ Brown is doing, bro, is shit bush leagues. It's like, bro, you reading on the sideline, you throwing little temper tantrums and I understand that you want to get the ball as a receiver, but a lot of this stuff is like weird at a certain point. Now you fighting over, you fighting Hassan Reddick over massage therapist. He openly admitted that he leaked news to the media in order to force himself out of Philly, in order to light fires up under up under the team. He openly admitted this shit, according to news reports. So yeah, here's what you better do. You better go up to New England and show your ass. Cause if you don't, and Philadelphia wins another Super Bowl without you, in the great words of the late great John Witherspoon, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. Because the thing is, you're gonna be doing all. And he talking about something. Everybody talking about something. He's with the proven quarterback now. Is he really? Do you see how fucking horrible that Drake May was in the damn playoffs? Did you see that? I know I ain't the only one who damn side, and
Wait,
I
hold on.
picked him to win the Super Bowl.
Wait, hold on. Who with a straight face is talking about he's with a proven
There's a
quarterback
lot of
now?
guys in the media said that he's with the proven quarterback. Is he really?
Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl.
Again, exclude the damn Super Bowl. He's been able to get you the ball over the course of the last couple of years, and the team has been winning. And the thing
I
is, he has come
champ
up
that champ
in.
that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me because if it's coming from Kieran or anybody like that, and shout out to them. Obviously, they're gonna tell you Drake May is a much better quarterback than
No, no,
Jalen
no.
Hurts.
It's not. The local media, us. It's mainstream media. It's not the
But
local
that, but
media.
but what does that tell you? That doesn't surprise me not one bit.
He's
Because a
finally
lot of
with a
times, champ,
proven.
if they're saying the same stuff that we've been saying,
They've been watching the shit. But the thing is this: you're talking about a proven quarterback. Drake May was horrible in the playoffs.
Proven quarterback.
he
He
was,
was
but I do think
horrible.
he was horrible. He didn't play well, but I do think the fact what he adds a dimension for New England with the running ability, how excellent he is, run after the catch, and the back shoulder for New England. They have to have a target because again, you look at the weapons that they have. Okay, you go from Stephon Diggs to AJ Brown. Hopefully, AJ Brown is not as problematic off the field like Stephon Diggs, and you're expecting higher results in production. It does help for New England because, after all, he's reunited with his former head coach in Tennessee, Mike Vrabel, who's also problematic to deal with. But again, that's a story for another day. Drake May did not play well in the playoffs, champ. Not at all. But remember, before the playoffs, Drake May was in the conversation for MVP. BRF correctly picked Matthew Stafford. He previously predicted Matthew Stafford for the MVP, and he won. And there was arguments that Drake May could have won it. But I think the real reason why that Matthew Stafford won the MVP over Drake May, to BRF's point, the level of competition. So now with New England, and now that the fact that they have a number one target, and with the running game, because they still have Javion Henderson, and you still have Josh McDaniels. My thing is with AJ Brown, okay, we all knew you wanted out of Philadelphia. We knew. And remember, champ, I said it before. 3 games. 3. Remember those 3 games that I told you about? The Cowboys, the Bears, the Chargers, Monday Night Football. All 3 of those games, he had over 100 yards. He got his targets. In 3 of those games, he had 3 total touchdowns. Was he complaining?
No.
So now you're in New England. Everyone knows you're the number one target for this team.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of expectations for you to deliver. There's also going to be expectations for Drake May. I believe Drake May will be fine. As for Philadelphia, they're still going to be fine. And one of the reasons why, champ, we did babyface or heel, all 3 of us, we agreed AJ Brown is a heel. Because after all, you talk about Drake May, how he performed in the playoffs. I'm sorry, AJ Brown. Have we not forgotten your performance against the San Francisco 49ers?
You sold.
Yeah, and there was plenty of games last year where he sold, dropped multiple passes,
especially that Chargers game.
Exactly, dropped it in the fucking end zone. So again, if you don't go to New England and show out, and at minimum get them back to an AFC championship and be the X factor that gets them there, much like T.O. was to the Philadelphia Eagles, if you don't play the role that T.O. did for the Philadelphia Eagles to New England, then guess what? You was just a bag of hot wind. Because you was already winning. You just didn't get the targets. And the thing is, look, offense is always going to stand still when you have these different philosophies coming in. I'm just going to be real. It's kind of like it's been a revolving door ever since Jalen Hurts and that offense got there. It's been this guy one year, this guy the next year, that guy another year, that guy another year. It's been just a revolving door, and it's kind of hard to get traction when you have a revolving door. The best years that they had was under Shane Steichen and up under Kellen Moore. So guess what? Those are the best 2 offensive coordinators that they have. And they was here one day and they was gone the next. They've had over 6 offensive coordinators in this system. So it's hard to get traction. We've seen this before. We saw it with Bill Cowher and Cordell Stewart. They couldn't get a lot of traction, although they were a good team, because when you change offensive philosophy every single year, it's kind of hard for guys to buy in. You go from the West Coast offense to the Wildcat offense. How you expect for my wide receiver to buy in? Not throwing the ball much. And as long as you're winning, you should be able to handle taking a back step. Let's face it. Saquon doing y'all Super Bowl run, he had a magnificent year. Magnificent. Okay. Chalk it up to the game. Come back next year. You got another offensive coordinator. So it's like this. If you don't go to New England Patriots, San Antonio Spurs of football, and show out, you just a bag of hot wind.
BRF?
Yeah, I mean, Philly needed to really get rid of that kind of AJ Brown just brought like nothing but toxicity and toxic energy to that franchise, and they needed to.
You talking about Real
They needed
Housewives of Atlanta toxic.
basically. I mean, I don't. I mean, just the story coming out with him and Hassan Reddick apparently playing hot potato. I mean, that's toxic. It's toxic. It's toxic. It's toxic. I mean, he's. I mean, but then at the same time, when you look at AJ and you hear a lot of these stories coming out, like the fact that they're trying to connect the dots and saying that his play in the NFC Championship game was kind of like him selling because he wasn't happy about certain things that was going on off the field, and it's like, he had to go. He had to go, and this is why on UGSP when we did our show, I know like we were talking about Dallas and how they were on the come up and how Flash. I think Flash thinks that they might be a top 5 team in the NFC, and I'm just like no, because I feel like at the end of the day you can't overlook the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just how I feel like. I personally think with the AJ Brown toxic energy gone, I think they can get back to solely concentrating on football and winning games and not worrying about having to feed somebody's ego in order for them to shut up. That way they can be a model citizen in front of the sports media. They don't have to worry about that anymore. Devontae Smith ain't finna come out complaining like that. And then you go out and you draft Mekhi Lemon out of USC at 20, who I feel is going to be one of the biggest steals in the draft. You go and you snag him, and I mean you kept Dallas Goedert. You still have him. You still have Saquon Barkley. You still have arguably the best offensive line in football. You're bringing back that otherworldly defense. I mean, just studs on every single portion, every single line of that defense. I mean, Philly is going to be okay. Philly's going to be fine. If any, like if like I said, I'm kind of when PSP was talking about that he thinks Philadelphia is the one team that can beat the Rams. I don't agree with it.
I
I don't
said they
agree
could.
with it. Yeah, I feel what you know. I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with it. I personally think that the biggest competition to the Rams are the Seattle Seahawks. But I mean, that's not like, oh my gosh, that's like such a crazy point to make because Philly's going to be there. Yeah.
I said Philadelphia because I do think Seattle will take a step back though.
I don't. I personally don't. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to. I get the whole the Super Bowl hang on everything coming off winning the championship or everything. I don't think they're going to take a step back because I remember how this team was going before the end of the regular season. Zach Charbonnet had became the number one guy before he got hurt, and then Kenneth Walker just went on that run to be able to get that money from the Kansas City Chiefs. But Zach Charbonnet had pretty much all but become the number one back on that squad. He was getting the lion's share of the carries, but then he got hurt, and then it thrust Kenneth Walker back into the number one, and he took full advantage of it. I think they're in good hands. I think Seattle's in good hands at the running back position with Zach Charbonnet. He was coming into his own last year. I think he's going to come back. He's going to have a year. I'm interested to see what Sam Darnold is going to be like if he can keep this up. I think he's finally coming to his own and kind of is playing like the quarterback we knew he had a shot of being coming out of SC in the draft. JSN is JSN. What more do you need to say? Offensive player of the year. There's nothing else to say about Jackson Smith and Jigba. There's nothing else to say. And then that defense with Devon Witherspoon, Emin Worry. I mean, just beast on top of beast on that defense.
Dark side defense.
Oh my God, Leonard Williams coming back. Like, come on, man. That defense should frighten anybody. So, but to get back to AJ Brown real quick, yeah, he's got to go. He's coming in New England as the undisputed number one. I mean, you still got Pop Douglas, who's a good receiver, Demario Douglas. Kayshawn Boutte was really coming into his own second half of the year. I think he's sliding into a role being the number two. He should be more comfortable, not dealing with his harder matchups, as opposed to being sometimes being one. Even though he had Stephon Diggs, I mean, Kayshawn Boutte was still drawing some pretty good matchups. He's gonna have it easier. You have Hunter Henry there at the tight end position. He really kind of had that breakout year You have Travion Henderson. You have Ramondre
Roman J.
Stevenson.
Stevenson.
I mean, the backfield is still good. I mean, there's no. I
And you
feel
also
like
have Josh McDaniels there because of as far
exactly.
as with the call in the plays.
I hope to God he saw what he did in that Super Bowl and learned from it and understand you can't play passive like that in the Super Bowl if you're expecting to beat a team like the Seattle Seahawks who play the way they play on defense. You can't be that passive. You can't. I felt like he called the game scared. You can't do that. You can't do that against the Seattle Seahawks. Against a team like the Seahawks, you know they're gonna be aggressive and come after you. You have to be aggressive back at them. You have to take advantage of weaknesses they're gonna show because you know they're gonna rush the passer. You have to take advantage of the holes they leave, and he didn't. And he didn't do that.
No, indeed not.
But with AJ Brown, he's got to plant his flag in the ground. You want it so bad. You want it so bad to get your targets and be the unquestioned number one. You want him to be the face of that receiver room. Well, guess what? With the New England Patriots, you are the face of this wide receiver room. So you got to do it. There are absolutely no excuses for AJ Brown. If you do not go to New England, and it sucks though, but you have to put up. You kind of have to look like your first year in Philly, like Tennessee. You have to look like that. Like when you were in conversations, top 3, top 5 receivers in the league, you have to look like that this year for Drake May. Otherwise, it's a failure of a trade. I wouldn't say failure, but it's a very big disappointment of a trade if you don't come in and you step up and you ball out from the jump. Because a lot of things that were going on in Philly was self-inflicted because quite frankly you were mad because you weren't getting the ball enough. Well, guess what? With New England, you're going to get the ball because a guy like Drake May, who's young in his third year in the league, he is going to look for you because you are his new safety valve. You are his new favorite toy. You are the shiny new toy that you went to Toys R Us and you paid about 30, 40 some odd bucks for to put on your counter. You are the shiny new toy for Drake May. And you gotta be like that week in and week out. There's no excuses. You can't do none of that stuff you're doing in Philly. You gotta show up, you gotta show up every week. Because if you don't, what is the point? What was the point of all that noise if you're gonna go to New England and be a nothing burger? What's the point?
It
Just
tells you
show
that
up. You got to
Philadelphia.
show up.
It tells you that Philadelphia finally had enough of his nonsense, and which is why Champ and I last year I said they have to trade him because at this point we've already been to Super Bowls with him. We've won a Super Bowl with him. What's the point of keeping him if he's going to continuously be an asshole? And the thing is, with New England, I don't think he should be he's the number one target, but their security blanket to me is Hunter Henry. Because again, with the court with AJ Brown, again, he's gonna get a lot of tight balls, a lot of tight contested catches, even though AJ is very capable of making those types of catches in the red zone and also with the back shoulder, but still I go with the tight end as far as the security blanket. But AJ adds a dimension to the team because of what he can do with his yak ability. We know how excellent he is as a runner. I mean, he's about what 6'1", probably 6'1", 6'2", probably 226, 230, who can move. Probably around that 4.5-ish speed. But with AJ, look, his problem is just his attitude. Okay, so you're in New England. You're with year 3. I kind of look at it with Drake May with Stephon Diggs. Drake May with AJ Brown, kind of like with Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs. How can he help expand Drake May's game? Well, Drake May last year, before the playoffs, in which he did not play well, was the runner-up for the MVP. So you have an exciting duo with Drake May and AJ Brown. And your defense is still attacked. We're forgetting how good New England's defense was. The reason why they were still in that game was primarily their defense. The way Christian Gonzalez was covering Jackson Smith-Njigba. Their biggest problem was the offensive line, particularly Will Campbell, because boy, he got embarrassed in that Super Bowl, champ, and throughout the playoffs.
He looked like a whole saloon door the way he was opening up, letting them dudes pass him, boy. Man.
Bro, that dude said a saloon door, bro. That's nasty hell.
Boy, I'm talking about boy. I'm talking about, man. They could have. They were walking from all walks of life coming through that saloon, getting them a good drink, getting them a good cold drink. Boy, all that pass rusher going on Will Campbell, that was nasty.
There you go. But
Mm.
fellas, let's get into our favorite subject, my favorite subject on the Sports PSP podcast, Babyface Heel. Now, for those who may not know what Babyface Heel means in wrestling language, Babyface is a good guy, a heel is a bad guy, a tweener is someone in between, Babyface or heel.
Speaking of wrestling, before you go on, I remember y'all did that segment about the top 20 wide receivers.
Wrestlers.
The wrestlers, yes.
You
At some point,
disagreed with me with Trish Stratus. You believe Becky Lynch deserved the top 20.
yes, I absolutely do, and I stand on business.
We
Mm,
respectfully disagree, and I just
mm.
like Trish Stratus's promo work. I mean, she does have, great, one of the greatest female champions of all time. But I'm just more into just the wrestling ability, the promos. One
Becky,
promo,
Becky
one.
Lynch is the Becky Lynch is the greatest women's talker ever,
I'm talking.
ever.
I'm not talking about just mic skills, BRF. I'm
Mm,
talking about
but that's what it's about, though.
no,
That's what it's about, though.
not necessarily in this one. I don't think you know which promo I'm referring to.
Which one are you referring to?
I
Her
think
and
Trish Stratus
Vince.
as the heel. I think Trish Stratus as the heel got Becky Lynch, bro.
As a heel?
As
No,
the heel.
no.
You remember what she told, bro? Do you remember what she told
Lita,
Lita
when she
doing
was
that
pregnant.
doing with Snitsky? And she wore
Yes.
that white dress. That the whole crowd had a huge like, oh,
Well, guess what? You want to know what promo I can go to with Becky Lynch being a heel that I could come back to with that? The one where she
what
was
was that?
talking about Nikki Bella, where she said, "I guess you can't see him anymore." When she was talking about John Cena, the crowd lost their stuff. And here's the thing, though, there has never been a women's wrestler that has gotten over the level Becky Lynch did that run that leading up to WrestleMania 35. And the fact that she's even main evented a one night in WrestleMania. And the only reason why she didn't main event night one of WrestleMania 38 was because of Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. But she could have main evented WrestleMania 38 night one with Bianca Belair. And then not to mention all the rivalries she had, whether it was with Bianca, Charlotte, heck, with Trish herself. That payback cage match was a match of the year candidate that year. And then, like I said, Becky Lynch is in my opinion, is the greatest women's talker ever. And there's never been a wrestler on the women's side, probably maybe Rhea now, but before Rhea, no women's wrestler has ever gotten to the level of superstardom and overness like Becky Lynch did. That's why I feel like they got it right with Becky making that list because I feel like her impact just sheer everything that she's been able to do. I'm not saying Trish wasn't great, because I feel like Trish crawled so Becky could walk. But sometimes when you look at that, you have to look at what that person did following her, and if they top that, and Becky topped that.
Is there anything you want to add,
That's
champ?
fair. That's fair. But look, we go revisit this at another time because we'll be here all night long. But I think Trish has her because the thing is, this age was tailor made for the women's division. Back then, for you to main event Raw as a woman with her and Lita, for you to main event Raw during that time, where it was purely male dominated, all the superstars during the ruthless aggression era, and you were the main event. That was that was groundbreaking during the time. Like I stated, you have a better chance now as a woman, as a wrestler now. But back then, it was still male dominated, and there was a lot of gimmick matches back then. And I'll never forget Trish even said, "I stopped wearing the shorts and put on pants so I could be taken serious as a wrestler rather than a fitness model." And she was the greatest of all time as far as heel work with Vince McMahon, as far as heel work with Lita, as far as heel work with going against Chris Jericho and things of that nature. I think that she did her big one. And like I said, she is timeless. It was timeless. And unlike, and she didn't have anybody to really fall back on. She didn't have that one superstar as far as a woman that she could lean on to and you could relate to her and say, this is how we know her. Because when you look back at it, the biggest star that she related herself to was Vince. When you look at TNA, you really can't see, God rest his soul, he was a great wrestler. Test was good, not necessarily blockbuster. Albert, good, not necessarily blockbuster. When you look at Trish, she's in a class all by herself. And like I stated, when you headline Raw during the
That
ruthless
main
aggression,
event with her
yeah,
and Lita.
during the ruthless aggression era, when Evolution was at the height of its power, Chris Benoit, Bobby Lashley, Johnny Nitro, a lot of those guys, tag teams was at the height of their power. Every division was basically at the height of their power during the ruthless aggression era. And you as a woman main evented Raw during that time. You would, and everybody stuck around to see it. Wasn't none, and it wasn't a gimmick match. It wasn't no evening gown match. It wasn't.
No, it was a
It was
real
an actual
legitimate.
match, and it was one hell of a match at that. So yeah, for you to do that back then, especially when it wasn't, when you didn't have a Shawn Michaels, when you didn't have a Triple H, and a lot of the talent scouts who are scouting the women nowadays, because there was talent back then, but when you are the standalone during your era, that says something about who you are. Like I stated, I got with Trish, greatest women's champion of all time. She retired the women's champion. And look, not too many women could touch her in that ring, on the mic. And look, man, she's as easy on the eyes as cheesecake. She's as easy on the eyes as cheesecake. So it don't matter how long it sits there, it's still gonna look good when you spin the block and look at it again. So for her to be at her age and be just that elegant is that that
Remarkable.
that, that's remarkable. That's remarkable.
And plus, I just think, yes, BRF, to your point with the promos and everything else, but I look at Trish, what she was able to do because of all the reasons that Champ eloquently stated. I think that's why we give the edge. Champ and I. But it's just something we're going to have to agree or disagree. But
I don't know.
respectfully.
I mean, I
BRF
feel.
brings up a valid
I
point
mean,
though,
I
No,
feel.
man.
he
I
does.
feel.
No,
I
no,
feel. I
no,
feel what y'all.
he makes he makes a is eloquent point, but it's just one of those things we're never going to agree or disagree. But just
I
because we
mean.
disagree on something, that doesn't mean
I
we still
mean. I.
can't talk.
I feel y'all on that, but I mean, sheer resume. I mean, it's really hard to dispute about Becky. It's hard to dispute, and I get Monday Night Raw at the height of the ruthless aggression era and all that. WrestleMania anytime to main event WrestleMania
That is a
anytime
fair
ever.
that is a fair point because had it not been for
WrestleMania,
Kevin Owens and Stone Cold, she would have been the main event.
she she would have, yeah, she'd have two because she would have had WrestleMania 38 night one because that rivalry with Bianca Belair was something serious. And then to get a one night WrestleMania, to get the last one night WrestleMania to main event, Charlotte Flair, her, Ronda Rousey, and to put on a good match at that, but to be but when you have to think of everything that was going on at the time, the Seth rivalry with Brock, Kofi Mania going on at the time, Roman Reigns coming back from leukemia, everything that was going on at the time, that Daniel Bryan chef's kiss of a heel turn that went on at the time, everything that was going on at WrestleMania 35. Yet you not only main event the last one night WrestleMania, but you unify the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships, and then to still go and to still be doing it even after that, just the countless amount of championships, the countless amount of rivalries, the countless amount of good matches. That woman that's put on so many banger matches over their career. I just feel like as great as Trish was, the resume for Becky, I just feel like it's something serious, man.
This is why I love this damn show. This is why I love this show, man, because three brilliant men, especially the two men on my left. You're right, ladies and gentlemen. We can go all night with debates, and guess what, man? The knowledge is gonna be there, man.
And we
That
love each other
BRL,
and we love each other at the end of the day. That's the
yes,
important thing. We
yeah,
love each
y'all
Well,
are
other.
not,
like my
That's what
brothers,
well,
matters.
man.
not just we love each other. We're also grown ass men, and we're also
Exactly.
smart grown ass men. The bottom line is, look, it's just a wrestling debate. It's an argument. It's not the end of the world. It's not a
Hmm.
big deal. Just because
Exactly.
we disagree on something, that doesn't mean we can't talk. It just mean that's how the way to handle it. It's
Hmm.
and that's the best way to handle it. But fellas, let's get back to babyface heel.
Hmm.
Now, again, for those who may not know what babyface heel means in wrestling language, babyface good guy, heel bad guy, tweener someone in between. Let's try to keep it hurry up because I got to edit and all that stuff. An interesting one for babyface or heel, Nick Cannon.
Oh man, Nick Cannon. I, I don't know what to say.
The
It,
long the
I'll put
that's the
him as a tweener.
that's the longest game of hopscotch in the history of hopscotch.
That's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope because you think about all them damn children that he done had and some of the things that he said
About the president,
about well
the
not
one
about
with
just
Amber.
about the president
No, do
about
you
the
remember the interview he did with Amber Rose?
Why are you talking politics with Amber Rose in the first place, bro?
you
I'm
might as well
sorry,
talk
champ,
politics.
but
You might as well
if
talk
you're
politics with Gianna Michaels. So
gonna
but it's a damn
Stacey
shame y'all both
Dash,
know who that is. But you both. But anyway, like I don't know, like Nick Cannon doing his time at I mean, you know, he's come a long way from being a Nickelodeon kid. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. But I remember his time at Nickelodeon, and I remember his time at on MTV. I mean, he did a lot of good things. Brought Wild and Out was a damn good show. You know, the Real Husbands of Hollywood was a real good show. But some of the shit that he said on either side of the spectrum has been kind of outrageous, and it's been crazy. Good movies. I love Don't Cross the Thing. Him and Christina Milian in that movie.
Drumline.
Drumline.
I love Drumline. Based on the true story of Dallas Austin. But some of the shit that I don't like the fact that he created all these damn broken homes, man. You just had child after child after child after child. Damn, bro. Don't do that no more. I mean, do you know the meaning of the damn word rubber? I
He
mean,
lived. He
damn.
lived up. He lived up. He lived up to one of his songs because he was a
Yeah.
gigolo. He was on
All
the
across the
floor.
globe and ironically, he made that song with another guy, which
J-
is kind of
Yeah,
just weird.
hey. I
It's
mean, you
kind of
right though.
weird. But
You right
no,
though.
I ain't gonna
You
say
right.
that
No,
crazy.
yeah. But you right
But
though.
I
You
know
right though.
you push it a little bit, you don't push it too much. But yeah, both of them cats was weird. And Nick Cannon, I don't know, man. For every good thing that you have done, it's a lot of shit that I say, damn, son. It's like, damn, like really? I don't know, man. Like I say, I say tweener, you know, all them damn children, a lot of the crazy shit that you just said in the media. Not just like I said, not just on one side of the spectrum, but on the other side of the spectrum. Remember when he called certain demographic, called them savages? I'm like, how the hell you call somebody a savage? You don't expect not to get fired. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, shit, you gonna get your ass fired. Now you gonna say, hey man, like Ice T said, freedom of speech, yet watch what you say. Cause they was gonna fire your ass. So
Freedom of speech also means freedom of consequences.
hell no, they were gonna fire his ass because he called them savages. Calling certain demographic. And like I said, no matter what side of the spectrum he's talking about, he's always just extreme. And it's just like, dude, you can't sit around here and speak about folks like that. And like I stated, it doesn't matter which side he's talking about. It could be right or left. He says some radical shit about the right and some radical shit about the left. And I'm like, bro, are you listening to what comes out of your mouth or you just speaking just to talk? So when you speak just to talk, it's a whole nother ball game, bro. It's just like, hey, you know, tweener. He's not bad enough to be a heel, but hey, Nick Cannon, do better, man. Go to the pharmacy and pick you up some prophylactics. Do something.
What do you want him to do? You want him to go interview, have another meeting or interview with Cheyenne Bryan? Because that's what he did the last time.
I don't know what to say. I mean, he can go have an interview with whoever. I mean, damn. I mean, it ain't gonna stop the fact that you got a million kids. I mean, he got to start. He got to start. He got an NBA Finals
That's
lined up.
because that's because he keeps playing his ex's song, "Touch My Body."
I guess you need to do something. You need to never mind. You need to stop touching bodies. You need to become celibate or something.
You need to stop making bodies.
Shit. You need to go.
Probably playing "My Body All Over Your Body."
You need to
That's
go to
the
church.
last song he needs to play.
Damn here. You need to go baptize his ass and do something.
Boy, that's the last song he need to play. Boy, you his luck. He'll have 4 more kids.
He'll have 5 more kids here. He touched somebody.
You.
He touched a woman. They're gonna get pregnant. Remember, Kurt Franklin said that I don't want to get too close. I might get pregnant. Remember, Kurt Franklin said that too. Shout out to Kurt Franklin.
Shout out to Kurt Franklin. GP, are you with me? Shout out Kurt Franklin.
Shout out to GP. We with you.
It seems like with Nick Cannon, he's like the Michael Jordan when it comes to baby daddies.
Yeah. That's a diabolical analogy, but it's absolutely accurate.
This out here just rough riding.
BRF.
Whoo, boy, rough riding. How do I segue from that?
No more shopping sprees. No more late night creeps. No more VIPs. No more dough. We can't even kick it no more.
You gotta clip that shit.
Definitely will.
Shout out to Rough Ends, boy. Shout out to Rough Ends, boy. Underrated R&B group. Shout out to Rough Ends. But yeah, see, my thing is, I would have said tweener, but like that interview, that Jeep drive with Amber Rose and them talking politics, and just remembering, like, a lot of the clothes that you wear, a lot of the shirts you wear, a lot of the stances that you took, being pro-black and all that, and then to say some of the stuff you were saying with Amber Rose about, the presidency and all that stuff, and it's kind of like, like celebrities wonder why, like, a lot of folks don't necessarily take them serious, because it's like at the end of the day, it's like they got their money, so it's like they might not necessarily be as effective as like your normal average everyday citizen that's out there working, maybe working 1-2 jobs, working the regular 8, 9 to 5. You got to worry about bills. You living paycheck to paycheck and all that. And it's crazy though, because Nick Cannon's put a lot of people on because of Wildin' Out. I mean, we wouldn't know Carlos Miller. We wouldn't know Chico Bean. We wouldn't know DC Young Fly. We would not know the 85 South Show. Really, in a lot of part because of Wildin' Out.
He also had some established comedians that was also there. Kevin Hart was even on Wildin' Out. Cat Williams was even on
Kevin
Wildin'
Hart.
Out.
Yeah, he had Kevin Hart.
Affion
Crockett. He had Cat Williams, Affion Crockett. I mean, D. Ray Davis. I mean,
Mikey Day.
Yeah, Mikey Day. He's had a lot.
Desi Banks on there.
I think Desi has done it. I know he's had
Even Pete Davidson was on Wildin' Out.
Yeah, he had Pete. Yeah, he's brought Pete Davidson on. He had Shyla King. He's had him on Wildin' Out. He's done a lot for like up and coming comedians to really get them a platform and put them out there, for them to build their brand, to build their name to where they are today. I mean, he's done a lot. Look at even the battle rap scene, the Hitman Hollers of the world, the Conceiteds of the world. I mean, if you
one of my favorite verses that he did. Remember when he had Young Buck from G Unit on the show?
Yeah.
To come up with that last line, it took you a lot of time. Too bad 50 ain't here to write your lines.
Hey man, conceited. That's the all time meme that you're ever gonna see with conceited.
Mhm.
bro. Like no, like I think my all time favorite Wild and Out freestyle was the Wild Style. Hitman Holla and Conceited took over the entire Wild Style because they were really beefing with each other. So Nick Cannon just gave in the flow and just say, "Do you?" And that was like literal URL type stuff on MTV. That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen because if you watch URL rap battles, I am a URL. I love URL rap battles. I think they are some of the best like quality entertainment you will find if you are a hip hop guy. Watch URL. Watch gosh, there's so many King of the Dot. Watch them like watch them. There are so many talented battle rappers out there. Watch it, please, because I could give you a laundry list of like a huge fan of, and Hitman Holland Conceited are right up there. And but it's like it's guys like Nick Cannon putting him on, getting him platforms. So it's like you want to shout him out for being able to help out people like that, especially black people like that on the up and coming like that, to be able to help them out. But then you kind of tarnish yourself when you say stuff or when you do like interviews and stuff like that, the way you did with Amber Rose,
Or
stuff
the
like that. You kind
comments
of
you made about the Jewish community.
exactly you tarnish all that hard work that you put in helping bring up the black community with shows like Wild and Out. Heck, with shows like America's Got Talent that you were hosting. A lot of the black people, the black talent that was coming on that show and doing their thing, you would put them, you were the host, you would put them on. We should really be we should be celebrating him for that. We give him hell. We pick on him for having all the kids and all the kids. We pick on him. We give him all the hell we want. But he's done a lot of good. And it's just crazy that almost like a few comments that you made really just tarnish all the hard work that you put in to bring us up. And it's wild to think about, but it's true. So honestly, for me, he's like he's tweener, but he's a tweener, but on the heel side for me. He should be a tweener more on the face side, even with all the kids. Like I said, you just look at all the good things he's done for the community as far as bringing like establishing people and giving them a platform. And we should be celebrating that, not necessarily looking at the downside and the bad stuff. We shouldn't be looking at that at all. We should be looking at all the good he's done. And like I said, we give him so much crap for that. Or we give him, you know what I'm saying? They make jokes for days about his music. They make jokes for days about his music. And he knows his music ain't that great. But honestly, at the end of the day, you an entertainer and you are funny. And you are funny. That's one thing you cannot say about Nick Cannon. You can't say Nick Cannon is not funny. Nick Cannon is a hilarious dude. You can't say he's not funny. We should be talking about that, not for the stupid stuff not the stupid stuff that he said, kind of putting himself in a bad light. Because it's like, bro, where you standing? Where you at? So for me, he's a tweener more on the hillside. He should be a tweener more on the face side, but he's a tweener more on the hillside because you said some stupid stuff that's really tarnished you.
I say tweener to BRF's point. He's more of a heel because of the controversial comments he's made. You know, especially that interview with Amber Rose, which I don't even know why you wasting your time interviewing Amber Rose, other than the fact that despite all that, she's still fine.
I tell you what though, you notice when a little bit of that racism show, a little bit of that age start to show. She don't look the way she used to look. She aged a little
She
quicker.
went look. She got that damn
Tattoo on her forehead.
what the fuck you got that? What the fuck that is? You got a third grade sentence running across your forehead. That's gonna show your damn age. The fuck?
Oh, what, Joe?
She got that third grade sentence running across her damn forehead. The fuck you got going on? You got finger spaces and all type of shit on your forehead. You take that shit off your head. What the fuck you got going on? Really? What person gave you the bright idea to put that shit on your head? I want to know him so I go slap the shit out of him. Because
Chip said she got that subject and predicate tattoo.
Tell me that it doesn't look like a kid. No, it doesn't look like a third grader who just learned how to write cursive. Just wrote that shit on her forehead and she just would have got it tatted. People are just.
Oh God.
It's just hey. And then man.
Let's
It's
move
on.
on. Let's
It's
let,
on
let,
so
let,
long. Hey man, one thing I'm gonna do. If you get don't get caught slipping around me. I'm gonna talk about you. I'm gonna talk about you.
All right. Next one. I'm kind of leaning towards tweener, although I can understand babyface. Jim Ross.
You know what, man? Despite that one incident with Bubba Ray, well with Devon, I gotta put him on the baby
Two.
face side.
Two.
Huh?
Remember R Truth? Remember what R Truth said about Jim Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that too.
Despite that, I gotta put him on the baby face side. Look, 3 eras of look, man. Every year of my wrestling life, JR has been a part of. JR has been a part of. And look, I know that let me take that back. I'll say tweener, but every day, WCW, NWA, WWE, Attitude, and Ruthless Aggression era, Jim Ross been a part of it, man. So I got to put him at a tweener simply because it's just certain shit you ain't got no business doing. It's like, come on, man. These are Bubba Ray is part of one of the greatest tag team, if not, in my humble opinion, it will always be Harlem Heat. But one of the greatest tag teams of all time in the Dudley Boys. You say something like that, and crazy thing is Bubba Ray
It wasn't
vouched
just
for
it wasn't just Bubba Ray. It was also Bubba Ray, Spike Dudley, Devon Dudley, and Paul Lee. Paul Heyman was also there.
him. Yeah. So you say that against guys who helped revolutionize the business and tag team, and yeah, that was Bush League type of stuff right there. But at the same time, I put you as tweener. And look, I know this gonna get some heat, but look, when you got guys that were born in a certain era, I'm just gonna be real. It don't surprise me when you a certain way, especially with me being from the South. If you a certain age, no matter if you on one side or other, I expect you to be a certain way. And when you are that way, no matter what side of the spectrum you come from, it does not surprise me. He is from Muskogee, Oklahoma, so it doesn't surprise me. Does that make it right? No, but it doesn't surprise me. Me being from down south, guess what? You see black dude born in like the 50s or the 40s, 9 times out of 10, he from down south. He got a little bit of militant in him. He a little militant. Tell me I'm wrong, BRF.
You're not.
He's kind of militant. When you see that old kind of stink meaner type of guy from the other side of the spectrum, and he kind of like, the community say he a good man, but he kind of got some
He
racial
he
ways.
he got them tendencies.
He got them tendencies. Guess what? It don't surprise me. So yeah, when you born and during a certain era, it doesn't surprise me that you got those racial tendencies in you. It doesn't. Like I said, I'm from down south, man. It don't surprise me. But as far as him being, it's tweener is concerned, tweener because of the contribution you made to the wrestling business. Um, put a lot of other guys on, you know, including The Rock. You know, rallied behind The Rock. You know, made wrestling what it is. Hey man, Stone Cold and The Rock was responsible for the Attitude Era in the ring. Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler was responsible for the Attitude Era on the mic. They were the Pat Summerall and the John Madden of the Attitude Era.
And not only that, I also told you, champ, in the Attitude Era and in wrestling in general, Jim Ross and Stone Cold, they were the Ahmad Rashad to Michael Jordan.
Yes, indeed. So for that reason, for the tendencies that you have, I'm not gonna hold it against you too much because it doesn't surprise me. Like I
Given the
stated,
fact where you from
and
how
the
you
fact where you
are, how
from,
you raised.
it don't surprise me. Like I said, it doesn't make it right. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for that. But I'm from when you're from down south and you see certain guys, whether they black or white, and you see they a certain age, when certain tendencies come out, I'm not surprised. Keep walking. That's how you do it. It's just like, hey, am I
It
lying?
is what it is.
No, you're not
Yeah.
lying though.
All right. Keep walking.
Tweener. I can't call him a babyface as much as I hate to say it because again, like Jim Ross, I'm an Oklahoma guy. I love me some Oklahoma Sooners. I love Jim Ross as commentator. Look, even though I can acknowledge some of the racist things that he said, not only with Devon, Bubba Ray, and also with R Truth, just because I may not necessarily like the person, that doesn't mean I'm going to disregard their art. Regardless of how you feel about the person, you can respect and admire and appreciate the art. And when I look at Jim Ross, hell of a commentator, not only with wrestling champ, but also too, to your point, you mentioned in the past with football and
Yeah.
sports in general.
Yeah.
So when I look at Jim Ross and also too, during during the 90s, because he was battling Bell's palsy. Remember how Jim Cornette was livid when Ed Ferrara impersonated the Mr. Oklahoma at WCW when he publicly mocked Jim Ross's Bell's palsy to the point in which Jim Cornette spit him in the face and challenged him to a fight.
I mean, that don't surprise me. If somebody look, I'm gonna just ask y'all this: if somebody called me the Manchurian candidate, what y'all gonna say?
We're gonna respond. We're gonna do something.
Okay, then that don't
Oh,
surprise me. Why you looking at me like that?
because they probably wouldn't want to show themselves on IG or on a social media platform anymore after we got done with them.
I'm
But that's a
just
whole
saying
nother
somebody called,
conversation.
which has happened to me, by the way. That's the reason why I brought that up. One of my friends called me the Manchurian candidate for obvious reasons. Y'all know the reasons why. But somebody we don't know called me the Manchurian candidate. I'm pretty sure PSP has had some things to say with people who have called me certain names. So I know he
Yeah,
would
yeah,
respond in a
social
second.
media.
So I mean, so it doesn't surprise me when your best friend respond like, "Man, shut up." So
BRF, how do you feel about it, Jim Ross?
I gotta. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I can't. I can't overlook the situation with Devon, the situation with Truth. I can't overlook that. But yeah, he's a. I'll make it a unanimous. Yeah, he
Yeah,
is
we
a
got to be
tween.
consistent
Yeah,
because if
he's
we're
a
gonna say that with Nick Cannon, then we got to hold that with Jim Ross.
exactly. So yeah, he's definitely he's a tweener for me. But I mean, like Mount Rushmore. Like if there's a Mount Rushmore as far as like wrestling commentators, I mean, he's like the first. He's like the first head. He's the first face you're gonna see. I mean, just he like him coming into the World Wrestling Federation at the time, and then just the Attitude Era, and just being that lifeline, him and Jerry the King Lawler, of just like all the moments, like all the ridiculously great matches they've called, all of the just everything that they've been able to do. Some of my favorite moments. Child bringing me more sweets. Look at her. Okay.
Was that
Um,
Starburst?
no, it's those the big sweet what you call these, Maya?
Circus peanuts.
So the circus peanuts, the circus
Oh,
peanuts.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
But anyway, like
Bye-bye.
yeah, like one of my favorite.
Tell me when you're done.
I will. All right, shut my door.
Just lock your door.
Shut the door. Shut the door.
Bye-bye.
Only in America, baby. Live television. But yeah, but no. Like some of my favorite some of my favorite commentary moments are JR and King. Like I think a match, like one of my favorite moments of theirs that a lot of people don't, that more people need to talk about, was WrestleMania 22 the Shawn Michaels Vince McMahon street fight.
I thought you were gonna mention the 25 one with Taker when he said, "I'm having an out of body experience."
That is an amazing call. That is one of the best calls ever. I give you that one. But that entire, because commentators, like, you have to be unbiased. But at the peak of Vince McMahon's heel powers, it's really hard as a commentator to be biased. And
Well,
let
you
me
had
tell
to
you
literally
something.
kiss that man's ass.
Exactly. So that street fight at WrestleMania 22, that was one of the funniest things, because I mean it was like, that's one of those where I bet you it was almost like, hey, we get it, you're a commentator, you're supposed to be unbiased, but this is Vince McMahon. The things he's put you through, do what you need to do. And I mean, that was, the part where Shawn Michaels pulls out the belt and starts whipping Vince McMahon, and he's like, "Lay it in him, Shawn. Hit him harder." I'm just
No, remember the one where RVD, whether you had
The jumper cables with
the jumper
Kane.
cable at
And
the
eat some
RVD
steel,
came.
Kane. You're sorry, no good.
yeah,
That ain't no good.
Like,
Like, scramble the
man,
sound
the
of
part,
his brain.
Nothing
like,
is comparable to
let
what
me-
he said about Triple H after
Oh.
SummerSlam.
oh,
You're not
bro,
having it hard. You're not having it soul.
Good night.
good night, bro. Let me tell you. But no, it's that, and then what else was there? Okay, no, it was the when Kane had lost his mask, and he went into that really, really evil demonic side, that monster heel run, where I still feel to this day he should have won the World Heavyweight Championship, one of the biggest missed opportunities ever.
Yeah.
That night where he was gonna fight Bischoff, and Kane was walking to the ring, and Jim Ross is like, "I'm gonna be completely honest about what I'm gonna say here. I hope Kane whips his ass. I hope he choke slams into hell. And after the match, when he walks outside, I hope Kane gets hit by a bus." And I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done. Like, when he gets to be biased, and he could be like a true face commentator, I swear it's some of the funniest things I have ever heard a grown man say on national television. Like, whether it's Vince or it's Triple H, or like the Stone Cold Steve Austin heel turn to WrestleMania 17. Austin has sold his soul to the devil, to Satan himself. I mean, just a Jim Ross call when you hear a Jim Ross call, because a Jim Ross call is going to set that moment off, and it's just, he's definitely a tweener. But when you're talking about all-time commentators with so many all-time moments, it's just something you can't overlook, and you can't overlook, and you can't throw away. So so for him being, in my opinion, the greatest wrestling commentator ever, you can't overlook the out of the ring stuff with all the just the accusations of racism and all that stuff. You can't overlook it. But he's a tweener. Like, you have to respect the contributions. You have to respect the contribution.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, that's why I tweener. I mean, look, two things could be true. JR has said some racist things. Damn, there's some noise in the background.
It's my kid, bro. My kid is loud.
That's all good. But, well, after all, it is the summer, so they're gonna stay up late. So.
It's my kid, and it's my niece. I have to get on them every night about being loud, and they're gonna take advantage of the weekend, because it's the week. Well,
I hope
I don't have to work, so it's like, oh gosh.
I hope they don't disturb you while you go to bed and stuff.
Oh, they don't do that. They definitely will not do that. Like, when I get off of here with y'all, I'm probably about to get them when I get off of here. So yeah.
But I think when you look at JR and his complete body of work, no, it's all good. BRF, handle yourself. Don't worry about it. We'll have BRF on the show back momentarily. You wrong. You know you wrong. You know you're wrong for laughing. You laughing.
They funny. The kids are funny. What the hell you want me to do? Not laugh?
Damn, it sounds like Real Housewives of Hollywood out there. But anyway,
hey man, kids are gonna be kids. I was just as loud, if not louder, when I was a child.
But anyway, back to Jim Ross. Tweener. I mean, his body of work is undeniable. His promos, the words, commentary, you cannot deny or disregard it. So, but at the same time, you also have to acknowledge some of the things that he's done.
Yeah.
So, two things can be true in that regard. All right, last one as far as with baby face or heel. I have a very interesting one for baby face or heel. Man. No, we already did that player. See, I mean, I couldn't concentrate because of the kids' noise and stuff. Because normally, I usually think about a lot of football players. I think for me, it's really gonna be hard. Really gonna be tough. Really gonna be a really tough. Oh, now I finally got it back. Steven Jackson.
Which one?
You know Steven Jackson from all the Smoke podcasts. Used to play for the Indiana Pacers, San Antonio Spurs. Steven Jackson.
For me, babyface. Now I
I agree.
understand people are gonna say Malice at the Palace, but if you go back and revisit it like you're supposed to do, rather than what do I like to say? Don't do what? Take the easy way out. If you go back and look at it, rather than taking the easy way out, and back then it was so easy for the media to do that because it was a very, very one-sided media. There were no platforms for the athletes at a certain point. Somebody throws a damn drink.
It was thrown at Ron Artest while he's lying on the scores table.
Yeah,
He's trying to calm down, and then someone, a fan, throws a
a
drink
drink
at
on
Ron
him.
Artest. What do you think Ron Artest is going to do in that scenario?
Yeah,
Even though, even though he's a professional athlete, but at the same time, he's still a man.
yeah. So yeah, and he went up there and he backed up his teammate as he should. So I ain't have no problem with him in the Malice in the Palace. You want to step up to an athlete knowing that he in shape and Steven Jackson bought that life too. Hey, um, not to mention all the Smoke podcast is good. He won at a place. He showed you what he could do at a place of structure. He won a championship with the San Antonio Spurs with Popovich. He won at a place of structure with Greg Popovich. And that just goes to show you his strength. Hey, look, despite you thinking that I'm just a thug, I'm able to come into a place of structure and not be a disturbance. Not to mention he had a good rap career and everything like that. And I have to admire him with what he did for his twins. Won't say no names. Everybody knows who his twin was. I got to give him admiration about what he did for his twin when he unfortunately was unalived in Minnesota. Everybody know who Steven Jackson's twin is. I'm not gonna say any names,
You
but
can
the
say
way
you can say it, champ.
no, I'm not gonna do that. But I got to give him a lot of credit, man. He was marching, he was on television, and I got to give him a lot of credit when he was doing the Donald Sterling situation because he said it right. If any other demographic were said that about and Donald Sterling would have been an NFL owner, he probably would have been either kicked out of the league or at worst unalived. And he said, if I was them, I probably wouldn't play. I wouldn't have played. So for all the and look, I know he's on that Magic Dragon. Everybody know what the Magic Dragon is. But look, man, there's been a lot of people who've done a hell of a lot worse stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hey, right now, in several different states, the shit is legal. So let's just be real. So if you're gonna hold that against him, along with Malice in the Palace, then that's your prerogative. But between him when you win in a place of structure with a Greg Popovich, and he brings you in as a free agent, that just goes to show the faith that they have in you and the impact that you have. So you wanted a place of structure despite you being a person, quote unquote, of dysfunction. So you won, and you was able to be on All the Smoke. You was able to pave the way, man. All the Smoke, man. One of the best social media platforms in the world, man. Him and Matt Barnes, two very, very hard nosed guys, very, very tough guys who are authentic. It's rare when you get that authenticity between two guys. It's always a little, especially with those mainstream media guys. It's always a little bit of fakeness, a little bit. But those guys are authentic, whatever. They're for real. I'm getting tongue tied over here, but they for real. They are themselves, and I can't help but admire that. Like I stated, especially with the way that he handled himself when his twin got unalived. And I think he conducted himself very, very well doing that. I think he conducted himself very, very well during the Donald Sterling situation. I think he conducted himself when it mattered the most, when he played for the Spurs. And regardless of what you may think about, how he was in his younger days at Malice in the Palace, guess what, man? Look, at the end of the day, they were found not guilty in the court of law. I'm going to say
He's
it
a
again. At the end of the day, they were found not guilty in the court of law.
champ. He's a baby face. Look, some people may look at some of the things with Steven Jackson, but he's real. He's going to keep it to himself. And look, I'll say the name. You don't want to say it. I'll say it. What happened with George Floyd? He's been consistent. And I appreciate the fact that he called out Kevin Hart and called out Tony Hinchcliffe because that joke at Kevin Hart's roast, I thought that was totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel about George Floyd, because some people will bring up George Floyd's criminal history or whatever, the fact of the matter is you don't joke about someone who passed away like that. And that's why, champ, to me, with that roast, you brought up the one great moment with Cat Williams and Kevin Hart reconciling. I'm like, nah, you thought that overshadowed it. No matter what great moment you could think of, that was overshadowed because of the jokes about George Floyd and Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel about them at the end of the day, no one deserved to die like that.
No.
And to me, unfortunately, that's going to be that moment. But when I look at Steven Jackson, his activism, his consistency, I love the chemistry he and Matt Barnes have on Up in the Smoke podcast. So it's for me, babyface.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to see if we can get BRF, but BRF, you back on, man. You
Kids.
good?
That's all I'm gonna say. Kid. Them two.
Well,
But we good now.
all right. We're just gonna try to keep it real short and quick. Babyface or heel, last one. Steven Jackson, the former NBA player.
That's a
Champ and I said babyface because his activism, how the fact that he spoke up, how he's been continuing his activism in the aftermath of George Floyd, how
yeah.
he was there during with the Los Angeles Clippers, how he talked about Donald Sterling, and
Yeah,
also
I
how
gotta-
he particularly called out Tony Hinchcliffe and Kevin Hart for the jokes that happened during Kevin Hart's roast.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's basic because it's like for me with him, it's basically just it was we all remember the Pacers and the Pistons, the malice at the Palace. We all remember that, but just him just rebuilding his rep and like you said, everything he's done, like the podcast he does with Matt Barnes. It's one of my favorite podcasts, pretty much in general. And yeah, the activism, I there's really nothing else for me to add to that. Just he's really come a long way as far as like just what he's done in the community and just being one of those guiding lights out there and just everything he's doing. I definitely gotta agree with that. Steven Jackson, he's a baby face for me too.
In case if everyone is wondering, the New York Knicks are up 12 right now against the San Antonio Spurs. I'm sorry, champ.
I was trying to sound it out. 97-85.
Yeah. New York. I'm watching the score right now as we
Yeah,
speak.
that's why I'm looking and laughing at this. I'm not laughing at what you were saying.
Now it's now
Because
97-88 Spurs, but
yeah, I
but
was looking at them and on the television trying to make sure we keep up with the score.
no,
New York
no,
got
I'm
one
making
more.
sure I'm keeping up with the score. But like I said, champ, I told you I would not be surprised at all if the Knicks beat San Antonio because of the youth and inexperience. Jalen Brunson, another bad shooting performance, but Cat, OG, Mikal Bridges, other guys are stepping up. Wemby has had a better offensive game, but still in all, champ, Stephon Castle, 5 of 14 from the field, and plus with 4 turnovers.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, man, but the New York Knicks, they just have a lot of they're just starting to play well. Everything is going well for them. Only thing that we hope Knicks fans don't only thing I hope for Knicks fans for them that President Trump doesn't jinx them in game 3. That's all I'm gonna leave it at. Is that. But last 2 subjects, fellas. Favorite Ben Stiller moment. I love when he played heavyweights, the trainer. Remember the heavyweights movie with Keenan Thompson and why, champ?
That was my favorite movie growing up, man. I love that movie. I love that movie, man.
That
That
movie.
movie, it would survive nowadays because of politically incorrectness. But
Do you
I love
remember?
that.
Do you remember? I gotta say this. I know it sounds weird. Remember the movie Dodgeball, a true underdog story, and how at the end of the movie he's impersonating Keyless when he does my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. I feel like it's better than yours. The
Now remember,
dancing.
nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody.
But of course, him and Robert De Niro with Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents. We can't ignore the Cameron Diaz movie that he did.
There's something about Mary.
Love that movie, especially late in the end when Brett Favre was in the scene.
Is
Ben's
that Brett? Is that Brett Favre?
yes.
You know what? We can't talk about Ben Stiller without talking about Tropical Thunder.
Oh yes, we can't forget about that.
Don't look at me like that, damn it.
You can't talk about Trump. Yeah. Him and Robert Downey Jr. I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
I'm like with Brandon T. Jackson. How the hell am I dealing with all this shit?
I'm the dude that's playing the dude the size of another dude. Oh man, that was
Oh shit. No, the New York Knicks are now up 5 now.
You remember the cable guy?
Yes.
Cable guy. Mega Man was good too, man. I like Mega Man. Mega Man was good too. Anchorman. Shit. There was a lot of Ben Stiller movies that was real good, man.
How about Tower Heist with him and Eddie Murphy? I know it wasn't a big time movie though, but it was kind of cool though.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Oh, we can't forget the Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah, we can't forget that either, man.
Along Came Polly.
Yeah.
But Ben Stiller, BRF, man, what's your favorite Ben Stiller moment?
For me, like meet the parents, meet the Fockers, bro. Meet the Fockers. It was like,
especially how he helped the kid, helped Jack's grandson learn how to cuss. His first word was asshole.
Oh my god.
Asshole.
Oh my gosh! Like where he, when he discovers that he has a son. Oh, when he discovers he had a son.
And do you remember when Robert De Niro before how he hit him with some truth serum?
Yeah. Yes. Oh my man, I came because like I'm not like I love my comedy movies, but like I don't know, sometimes the movies like that don't necessarily like get me like that, but like no, Meet the Fockers
Champ 2
was incredible. Like him, And then Dustin Hoffman and Barbara Streisand playing his parents was like
Champ, are you watching the score right now?
the perfect choice. The perfect
Damn.
choice.
Remember Duck Man?
I think I
USA Network.
I think I do. Yeah.
Duck Man from USA Network. Yeah, that was he got a love. I love Duck Man. Came on at around 11 o'clock after Raw. You know, one of those shows that your parents, one of those cartoons that your parents wouldn't approve of. Damn.
You see the score? You see the score?
Ooh.
I was trying. Now it's tied now.
Yeah. This right here is why This right here is why the San Antonio Spurs are like. This is why I picked them to win. They can do this. It's man. They can do this. They are frightening. The Knicks playing as good as they have been.
But Champ, I gotta admit to you, heavyweights. I'm sorry that was a funny movie. I didn't think you would actually like heavyweights.
I love that damn movie.
I know it's unpopular now because of the times we're living in, but back then in the early to mid 90s, that was funny though.
I never forget when damn Goldberg had grabbed that rat damn burger and said, "Oh my God, where have you been all my life?" That was the funniest shit I have ever seen because they was trying to get him out the camp at that point, and they started making all type of smear campaigns. And Goldberg grabbed that damn rat and said, "Oh my God, where have you been all my life?" And bro, you talk about somebody busting out and laughing. That was the funniest shit ever in the world.
You can't talk, and you can't talk about Ben Stiller without Zoolander. You can't. Derek Zoolander. Funny movies. Like I don't know. Like him and Owen Wilson just have this ridiculous kind of like chemistry together.
Let's not forget Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Him and Owen Wilson. They just have this ridiculously good chemistry when they do movies together. They're good when they do movies together. Like they're really good when I don't know. It's just sometimes with comedies, like certain duos, they just have it. And they can make it work every time. Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson they're just two of those duos. They make it work.
Yeah, man. But Meet the Parents though, especially with him and Robert De Niro, the dinner scene or the volleyball scene when y'all remember that volleyball scene? And then of course, even though he didn't have that much of a role, but do you remember Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, I remember Happy Gilmore.
I mean, he didn't have much of a role, but he didn't have much of a role in Happy Gilmore.
But the way he played the role was
he made you want to whoop his ass the way he treated his grandma. He made you want to hurt him. He played his role well.
All right, fellas. Last but not least, one last topic before we wrap up the show. Favorite Amory track. Of course, there's one thing, but a song for falling in love. Why can't we fall in love?
I like that more than one thing, to be honest with you.
I do too. I wish that song would have been much longer. That's my. I mean, I love that song though. The remix of Rest Her Soul, DJ K-Slay, Too Much for Me. When you had Nas and Foxy Brown in that track. Talking to Me, but why can't we fall in love? Like that's the song that I love. Like if you're like trying to fall in love. Thank God for BET back in them days with 106 and Park. Those were the good old days, man. BRF, you would have had a ball because me and Champ, we had a favorite Bow Wow track discussion on last week's Sportspsp pod. And back in the days, weekdays, from 3 to 8, you had Total Request Live, you had Rap City, and you had 106 and Park. Those were the shows to talk about great music.
You could not beat them that time slot. You could not.
Don't forget about Rap City and Hits from the Streets.
Yeah, hits from the street too. Oh, you
I used
could
to love
not.
hits from the streets.
You could
Yeah, but
not beat it.
don't forget 106 in Park, the freestyles.
When they did Freestyle Friday,
Yeah,
bro.
Poster
Yes.
Boy,
Bro.
you threw your album off the roof to say your album dropped. I was like, wow,
Shout out
that
to
was
Blind
crazy.
Fury. Shout out to Blind Fury.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
indeed.
God. But oh, man. Yeah, my favorite Emery, yeah. Why don't we fall in love? I love that song. I mean, one thing is definitely like her biggest track. It's definitely that one
Let's
as
not
well.
forget the feature in Paradise with LL
Her and
Cool J
LL. Yes.
for the soundtrack. What was the name of that movie that LL was with Gabriel? Oh, Deliver Us from
From
Eva.
Eva, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I like Amy Reed, but that damn Tiny Desk performance wasn't necessarily the greatest. I'm just gonna be real, especially with the damn background singing. That shit was crazy. That shit was weird. I'm just gonna be. Don't look at me like that, Br. I'm just being real, But Ava Marie, I like her. I expected more out of that Tiny. I wish we could have got a little bit more out of that Tiny Desk performance. I like that song she did with Nas. On the Stillmatic album. Everybody wants to rule the.
every wants to rule the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Tears for Fears, the original makers of that song, man.
Yes.
That was Dennis Miller's intro on his comedy special when he was on HBO. Everybody remembers Dennis Miller, one of the
Mm.
world renowned comedians. But yeah, man, got to give A. Marie a lot of credit, man. She had that appeal, and guess what? She was able to get a lot of things done, and she had her own specific lane. So, man, I got to give credit where credit is due. Like I said, Tiny Desk, a lot more to be desired, but hey, you know, you can't deny that you had your time when it was that time.
But man, them 106 in Park days, man. I love them 106 in Park days with her. But why can't we fall in love? That is such a sweet, like just the beat. And then one thing, my two favorite songs during the year of 2005, Jennifer Lopez's "Get Right" and A. Marie's "One Thing." Those were my two favorite songs during that year. But A. Marie, shout out to her, very underrated. Doesn't get enough credit. Beautiful woman too, though.
Yeah. Hey,
So
man, I ain't gonna even lie to you, man. Why that damn ref in this damn game look like he carry a razor blade on him everywhere? Tell me I'm lying. Look at that dude. He looked like he ain't told the players before they went up. You get wrong out here, I short stroke your ass.
He looked like he honestly with that.
Bro,
Honestly, if it wasn't
tell me he ain't got no razor blade with him, bro.
honestly though, if it wasn't for that hairline, when you look at that mustache, he looked like a dark Dr. Robotnik.
but fellas, for everyone, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. BRF, any final words?
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell my out of left field humor was missed on this show. So I've had some moments I had to kind of reacclimate and get myself back right with the world. So
Do you think you'll be back next week? Because unfortunately, due to some technical issues, unfortunately, I can't edit some of the videos from last week's episode. But we can
but
revisit the Samuel L. Jackson moment.
yeah, I will. No, I will definitely start. I will definitely be. I'm hoping to get back on the regular routine to be showing up week in and week out. So yeah, I should definitely be back next week. But yeah, I definitely missed being here last last couple of weeks. I definitely missed being here, and I'm glad to be back. Um, I always have a blast on the show. I always have fun. I mean, it's just us doing what we get to do, and I always have a blast. Shout out to Champ, shout out to PSP, shout out to everybody in the Pod and Grind chat. It's just a blessing to be able to, to be able to do this on a weekly basis with people, you enjoy and people you want to talk to, people you want to be around. It's fun. It's always a pleasure, and I I'm always blessed to be here. I'm happy to be back, and I'm hoping to make this a regular regular thing again. So yeah, I should be back next week, and I'm ready to get back in the swing of it and doing just doing what I love to do with people I love, man, and it's always fun. So yes, I will be back next week, and I'm glad to be back.
You forgot one last thing.
Oh, I know, because a topic not thought about is a topic not talked about, people.
Big fella.
Shout out to Columbus, Georgia. Doing good this weekend, man. Y'all from Columbus, Georgia, you know what I'm talking about. Y'all doing good this weekend, man. Man, glad to be here, man. Just glad to be here. Check on your people. Look after your damn people. It ain't always about you. Check on your damn people. People make time for what they want. And check on your people, man. I'd rather hear your story than to hear your usual.
Facts. Sorry about that. I'll be back. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I'd rather hear your I'd rather hear your I'd rather hear your story than to hear your eulogy. So always remember that, man. Shout out to everybody. You know, just check on your people, man. You know, shout out to Papa John's Pizza, Bling Your Black, Toy Story, Pizza Planet. Um,
I know.
yeah, the commercial on right now. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So they bring it. They doing the whole Pizza
I
Planet
I
thing.
I thought you said you would prefer what you like Papa John's more than Domino's. If you want to say that, that's fine.
Yeah, I like Papa John better than Domino's. So ever since Domino's stopped serving that deep dish, it ain't been the same. But shout
I
out to
used
Pizza.
I
Shout
used
out
to
to
like
Pizza Hut
Pizza
for me.
Hut, but they stopped giving up that salad though.
Hey man, they bringing back the salad bar. So
Really?
they bring it back the salad bar and everything. So they bring it back the arcade games in there and everything.
They need
So
to
only
bring a
thing we
piece.
need back.
They need to bring a Pizza Hut back to Madison. I'm a little.
Oh, you got one right in Dahlonega.
Oh,
So got one in Dahlonega.
God.
So
Like,
hey,
yeah, we have a Marcos and a Godfather's down here.
you got a you got a Godfather's?
Yeah, we got a Godfather's.
Yeah, Godfather's good as hell.
Oh, they're great.
Fellas, for everyone who took the time to watch the Sports PSP podcast, thank you for tuning in to hop on the pod. We will always do everything we can to entertain, laugh, make you relate, make you have a good time, even on a bad time. Always thank you for hopping on, taking the time to watch the Sports PSP podcast, man. Um, as Champ always says, check on your people, check on your friends. It's not always about you, because you never know what someone is actually going through. In the words of Robin Williams, everyone you know is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. Um, D, love you. Champ may put you through some hell with all them New York fans. My advice to you, stay your ass home. But other than that, I love you. Hopefully we will visit during the summer. Yes, I'll probably see what I can do with Champ. Um, I just hope Champ doesn't. Champ just stay away from them damn wags from the Bronx and from the Queens area. That's all I can say in that regard. Kia, love you, sister. If you ever need to talk, more than welcome. And on that note, we is out.